I say I know that because I take terrible takes all the time.
No, you're good. You've always been good. I've always been so fucking, between you and Ed, I've always been like, man, I hate to use the reference of like Captain and Tennille, but
Ed knows what he's doing. Ed knows what he's doing.
Yeah, but I don't think you should discredit yourself in that way. I always thought that you were a phenomenal musician and an all around wonderful person.
Thanks, Marky.
Okay, so you hit me up
last year.
Yeah, and why did we never get to make that happen?
Who knows? Life?
The universe, maybe?
Yeah, I think just.
I'll blame it on the universe.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't the right timing until today, right now.
I'm totally a believer of that.
Because there's no other way that it could be than right now.
Yeah. So, quick, we've known each other maybe 15 years or more.
Yeah. Sure.
And I don't know too much about like what you do professionally. Mm-hmm. So, can you give me some background on like what you do professionally?
I went to school to get my master's in social work, and then I wanted to work for a think tank or like just do research. That's all that I wanted to do.
Okay.
My whole life, everybody was like, Chelsea, you should be a therapist. And I was like, I don't know. I've done therapy for my whole life and it's never really been helpful. Yeah. And I don't know, but there's not a lot of jobs in this area if you want to do research and like policy work. So I did my first year internship at basically like the food stamp office and like work programs and like this social program.
Okay.
And that was pretty cool. And then my second year was with Senator Blake. And that was cool.
He records music here. He's a good dude.
I love Senator Blake. Yeah, I love Senator Blake. And yeah, so that was nice. But yeah, I wasn't going to get a job like that in the area. So I started to work at the free clinic in Wilkes-Barre out of grad school. And I loved it. And it paid no money. And
what happened at that what was that free clinic about?
It's a free clinic. It's like a beautiful clinic. You have to work or live in Luzerne County, and it's for people who are in that gap between like Medicaid and like they can't afford their own insurance.
Right.
So yeah, and you have to like hit a certain income level. So you have to still be poor, but you make too much money for Medicaid, but you can't afford ACA really on your own.
What a crazy, like misaligned incentives.
Yeah. So they had a full, everything. I did like their social services and mental health there, and they have a full dentist, like amazing. They'll make dentures for people, and it's all volunteer based. So like there was like 5 people that were employed there, and then the rest were all like doctors that would volunteer their time there.
Right.
And that was wonderful, but I made no money,
Well, it's usually, you usually don't make money when you try to do the right thing.
I know. Actually, I have guilt about it. I have guilt for leaving there, but I started doing like counseling on the side. And then I really do love it. Yeah, I do love it. And I found the type of counseling that I see results with and that makes sense from my own lived experience. And then I see it with people it actually working.
I don't believe that a degree makes you good at a thing.
No, it does not.
So like what degrees did you get versus like what schooling did you get versus like your practical experience? Because I think it's so much more powerful to be practically experienced.
1,000,000% I agree with you. I'm like in shock, to be honest, how easy it is. I'm not trying to lose like my job. Actually, the practice I work for loves me. Like I love the practice that I'm with.
But I think you're honest, and I think that's important.
The truth. It was like audacious to me that I was like, I just go to school for 2 years and I like study this wide array of topics as a social worker, and then I take a test that I studied for and paid $200 for, and then that means that I can be a therapist.
Yeah.
And that was kind of audacious to me. I was like, what is this? Like, that's kind of crazy. So I did get great experience at the clinic, which is typically what a lot of social workers do, is that they start out in like community mental health.
Right.
And get some skills, get some supervision, whatever. And
can I tell you my philosophy on most therapists today?
Yeah, tell me.
So I'm 45. I don't know how old you are. So I graduated high school in 98. Mm-hmm. And when I was graduating high school, that was kind of like the big push for like Prozac.
Yes.
And mental health and therapists. And I remember being like 14 years old going like my first therapist, who was actually probably the best therapist I ever had in my life,
I love it.
was that guy. And there was a lot of people who I was going to school with who, let's say that they had, now that I understand the world totally differently, but I'm going to try to simplify it, is that they had probably some unresolved trauma, or maybe their families had some unresolved trauma. And I didn't grow up like, I was middle class. And a lot of them were like, a lot of them were going to go to higher education for like, be teachers education. They want to get their teacher's degree, or they wanted to get into some sort of mental health therapy, psychiatrist, psychologist thing. And I remember thinking to myself, I think you're going to school to figure out your shit. And there was a lot of them where I thought that. And the years go by, and a lot of them now are therapists or in the field of some sort of mental health. And what I've realized is that they did not figure out what was wrong with them. And now they've been unleashed into the world to give advice that they themselves have not taken, which I think harms people in the long term, and it creates mass, more human suffering. Is that a safe assessment?
I would,
at least from my point of view.
I would agree with you that there's a ton of therapists that are bad therapists, and that there's a ton that people do things ultimately like. Everybody does everything for a reason. Like everybody like is self-serving for whatever kind of reason. So yeah, somebody who goes in to be a psychologist because they want to figure out their own shit. I
don't think they consciously thought that.
No, I doubt it.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that was like, that was their North Star.
There's a joke like so there's
therapy jokes, yeah.
There's all like different types of like, you know, what type of therapist somebody is and like what they went to grad school for and how much money they paid to go to a grad school, you know,
right.
Or whatever, like what kind of school you come from. And social workers, we do have this joke that like psychologists, like people who go to school for psychology, that they do it because they saw it and it looked cool on television.
Sure.
Social workers go into social work because they had really fucked up their lives and like made a lot of bad decisions or like had bad things happen or have a real true trauma history. And then social workers are seemingly a different breed of therapists.
I think that they're more, the thing that popped in my head was some sort of military thing where it was like, okay, like the therapists were like the ones who went to West Point and became generals, and the social workers are the ones who were like on the battlefield, seeing what was and experiencing what was really going on, and I don't think that they get paid attention to enough.
Yeah, I agree. And social work
because there's no like elitist, you know.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with you. Like, I even like I said, like I was surprised how easy it was for me to be a therapist. You know,
it's like this is how easy I can get. I was
like, are you joking me? Like. Who says that? I used to like I have made jokes like the first 5 years of being a therapist, being like, I'm somebody's therapist. Like, how am I somebody's therapist? Like that was, but luckily I had done my own work. Like this time that I went to grad school was really transformative for me because I got to just use my brain, which I really love to use my brain, learn, have my worldview like ripped open while also seriously taking care of my body and my brain for the first time in my life. And
when did you go to grad school?
2015. Yeah.
So this is only like 10 years ago.
Yeah. 2015, 2017.
So you're saying that you were for the first time in your life, you started to understand the connection.
Well, I started to see things. I started to meditate. I started to do yoga first.
That's one of the hardest things I've ever done.
And then I started to meditate. Yoga led me to meditation. And then meditation is the thing that has changed my life the most out of everything I've ever done. Jails, institutions, therapy, inpatients, rehab, medication.
These are all things you've experienced?
All of these things I've experienced.
No way. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So out of all of that, meditation, learning how to really take charge of my brain in this consciousness I have, this awareness that I can direct. And it's a skill. It's, it's a practice. You have to practice. You have to give yourself time to do it. But that really changed my life in profound ways. I was like, oh, this this works. And I think that this is accessible to people.
It's free.
It's free. Yeah. I mean, I like to call myself a socialist worker because I do think that therapy should be free. I do believe in social programs being accessible to people.
I think, and we can get into it, and I
wouldn't call myself a socialist.
So you mentioned socialism, and then people are immediately like Stalin, and honestly, structurally, I mean, that's how we get fire departments. That's how we get ambulances.
100%. They're social programs.
It's not to say, it just goes to show that like the one size fits all thing is not a real thing.
No.
And
no way.
I'm a firm believer in. I got really big into like the America shit, and I started reading like, why did we choose capitalism? Why did we choose like all this stuff? And one of the people I read, and I forget who it was, they said that capitalism was the most equitable out of all the forms because it gives everybody the opportunity. Even though we all know that there's terrible people up top,
right? For sure,
and will take advantage,
for sure.
But for the common person, it was the most. It was the only way to, if you're self-responsible, and you kind of manifest it, you could potentially not just be some sort of serf for the rest of your life.
Right. Yeah. Right.
You can kind of like help your lineage, maybe.
Right. Yeah. And back in the day, if you're of a certain demographic of person.
Yeah, I think.
But I get it. I hear it.
They.
And I also believe
you're talking about like racism.
About having like a slave class.
See, I looked into that too, and like none of this is just a conversation. There's nothing to get like anybody. So there was a lot of things like I didn't know.
I'm a lover.
And the thing about like slavery was like it always existed. The word slavery comes from Slav, which is it's just terrifying to me that there's more slavery on the planet right now than there ever has been. Yeah, and it seems like we're so focused on division that we don't go. We need to stop. We need to start really talking to each other more so that we don't subjugate other people.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So the sins of the past.
Well, that's what I mean. Like I believe in like looking at the context of things too. Like, sure, I can throw out. Okay, well, I could see how capitalism would be equitable for white men, like starting a country.
Well, so here's another thing like I didn't know, right? So we think America started in 1776. But then like if you look at the history of America, you're like, all right, they signed the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. But George Washington wasn't president for like 12 more years. So they had like this Continental Congress thing. It wasn't all white people. And I never knew that.
In the 1700s?
Yes. From like 1776 to like 1780 or 1790 something before George Washington became the president, they had like this not finalized structured government. And there was representation from basically everybody. Like there was black people involved in that.
Wow.
Which I didn't know. I didn't know that till a couple years ago. And then the other thing like I looked into that was really crazy is that the first legal slave owner in the United States of America was a black man owning a white man.
Well, I mean, it's capitalism.
No, I think, you know what it was? It was like I think subjugation of people in any way is evil.
100%.
I don't care who you are. If it's an indentured servitude, 100%. If it's debt slavery, if 100%. It's literal slavery, sex slavery, everybody who engages in that, I think should, 100%. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but like the gallows or whatever, because they're not good people. They're evil people. And there's a generational psych. I don't want to deviate off of the psychology stuff and the human condition. There is a generational problem of unresolved trauma.
Yeah,
in our country. And
I don't think people know what that really means too, like intergenerational trauma.
Yeah.
And trauma, the word trauma in general, I don't think people like really have a good definition. I'm using this lately. I've been using this for like the last 5 years. And I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. No, yeah, it's fine.
There was this, I was listening to this doctor in like 2020, and she's British, and she works for the NHS, which is the National Health Service, which is the British thing. And she said she was a therapist, and she goes, I'm not effective. I'm not helping people. So she went into the private sector, and the reason I was listening to her is because she started to use psychedelics in the private sector. And when she described trauma, she goes, trauma is not like the plane went down and you were on it, or the fire happened. She goes, trauma, like the first moment of your life, you're exploding out of a person. That is traumatic in and of itself. She goes, when your mother goes to the grocery store for the first time, the baby does not know what a grocery store is. They think it's abandonment. That's a trauma. Your dad says something innocuous when you're 9 that you're still thinking about when you're 40, and it really didn't mean anything. Those are the traumas that make us make our decision. That's how she described it, as like, did I learn from this, or does this define me? And that's how I kind of understood it. Am I close?
I like that definition. Yeah, the definition I normally use of trauma is anything that happens in your life that you couldn't ever understand what it was going to be like when it happens. It disrupts your nervous system. Yeah. And then you're in a brand new world afterwards.
Well, she said that every time you think about the trauma, it's basically like reliving it. Like all the chemicals react.
Well, you're in a sense, yes.
Yeah.
Because we're operating then out of this sympathetic part of our nervous system.
Right.
We're having this limbic hijacking of our brain. We're not using our prefrontal cortex, this big hunker in the front of our brain that like helps us make decisions. And
the lobotomy zone? Keep going. I'm sorry.
And it's I mean, then we live our life just in like this reactive state. And like if we grow up with parents that are reactive because they had parents that were reactive.
Totally.
Then like that's intergenerational trauma, and it comes in all different types of forms. I think about it all the time, like Black people who 3 generations ago couldn't read, who had grandparents who couldn't read, and whatever, and how that turns into intergenerational trauma.
What we don't realize too is a lot of the times there's 3 generations who are interacting with each other, imparting all their own little psychological things on everybody.
And then epigenetics, much about epigenetics?
No, I don't.
Epigenetics is crazy shit. Like all of this stuff, I get so passionate about it because it's just so fucking crazy. Like the study that's always cited is the cherry blossom mouse study. So basically the scientists gave, whenever there'd be the smell of cherry blossoms on these test subjects of these mice, they would shock the mice. And so eventually the mice were conditioned to have a stress response to the smell of cherry blossoms. After like babies, like down the line, right? Well, it's like 4 generations later, the mice that are born from those mice 4 generations later still have a stress reaction to the smell of cherry blossoms. Like that's crazy. And even like I can get like, my friends make fun of me all the time about like how pumped I can get about this stuff, but it's so crazy. Like you existed in your mom her entire life. Like since she was born, you were an egg in her. And then you were an egg in your mom, in your grandmother for 7 months. And so you experience your grandmother's life for 7 months. And then you experience all of your mom's life until you were born.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Do you think that there's something there, like a memory?
Well, I mean, it does. Like there's studies coming out now about like encoding of the DNA and like what does that do to a person? Like if your mom is constantly, in these stressful situations, a kid is more likely to be born with ADHD. Like a kid is more likely to be born with these stress reactions, the inability to be able to use this prefrontal cortex, which is where we do executive functioning.
Yeah.
Which is like what ADHD has problems with. People with ADHD don't have great executive functioning.
I'm going to push back on the ADHD thing a little bit. Because when I was in school, that's when it first started. And that was ADD.
Yes.
And then they added hyperactivity.
Yes.
And it was always confusing to me where I was like, but they can play video games for like 12 hours.
Yes.
And be totally focused.
Yes.
So I think that like the diagnosis of that in another country might be something
I'm of the world of therapists that with the next DSM, like the
DSM-6,
yeah, whenever that comes out, whatever people decide to write that, and whatever kind of
just like the Bible
background they come with to change the things in there. I don't think that ADHD is going to even be in the DSM.
I did a post about the Tylenol thing, right? When Kennedy said acetaminophen, right? And it was just like, it wasn't meant to be divisive. It was like, when I do stuff like that, it's more to think for yourself. Hey, this is something to ponder. I could be right, I could be wrong, but you should look into it, right? And there was this guy that reached out to me, and I never talked to him before in my life. And I really don't take Facebook Messenger phone calls, because I think
he called me,
right? And he starts telling me about like 10 years ago, he was one of the people who would be the diagnoser of children with autism. Like that was his job. And he said, you know, one of the weird things that happened is like in the DSM-4, I was diagnosing people with specific conditions, right? He goes, you know, autism is a spectrum. He goes, but I would diagnose them with specific conditions that weren't necessarily autism. He goes, but when the DSM-5 came out, all of those things that were very hyper-specific conditions all got thrown into autism. And he goes, I think that was a bad idea because we can't specifically treat people. So what you're saying is depending on who the author is,
and who,
you need to be suspect of what it says.
Yeah. And like, I am not trying to lose my license, but the DSM is it is written by people. I'm not trying to lose my license, but people do have agendas. Like people do have backings. People do have
or traumas,
funding sources, or traumas. 100%
that manipulates their thought processes.
100%.
Yeah.
And even like when I was in grad school too, I remember my brain like being ripped out of my head, just being like, what the heck? Like just learning about like P hacking.
What the fuck? Wait, what is that?
P hack.
I'm thinking urine.
No.
Okay.
P hacking, like a P value in a study.
Oh yeah, in
a research study. And like how, okay, so like, of course, like the replication crisis, like that we can't like so many studies that we have made decisions on. We can't replicate these studies.
That's a terrifying idea.
Yeah, my brain was like ripped out of my head when I was learning all of this. I was like, whoa, what do you mean? Like everything we believed. Like,
so you say the P hacking, which I now know what a P value is. I wouldn't have known a P value 6 years ago, but now I do. I started to quite like, how could you do this? And what would be the benefit to like orient the study to give the conclusion that you want? And I heard a term called GIGO. Have you heard that?
I don't know what that is.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Okay.
So if you feed it manipulated data or biased data, you will get a biased answer.
Yeah, and even like
don't be afraid to stay away from that.
I did in grad school, I did like 2 years or 2 semesters, a full year of an independent study, and just worked with this one professor because I was really interested in research. And I did this huge ass study on like fracking, and then like the amount of students that will receive free lunches after like a boomtown like bus, basically. And I realized like, oh, I could manipulate this. I could use
You realize that?
Yeah, I was like, I could get a different test here, and I could do a different statistical analysis. That's not the most appropriate one to do, but I could do that right now.
But it would benefit the outcome.
And then my hypothesis would be proven true. And and so I remember, and if I could like, yeah, that there is P hacking, that there is like, oh, let's use this type of testing on this data set because that's then going to give this. And like, nobody knows this shit. Like nobody knows like what type of testing to do and what is the most like, if I'm reading a white paper as a therapist and I'm just like trying to like learn more information, yeah, okay, I'm going to trust that was the right analysis to use, that was the right analysis software to use on this data.
But you're basically finger crossing.
But you're hoping,
you're like,
yeah,
I hope the people that are writing this are trustworthy.
Putting my hope into it, yeah. And I don't think that everybody is like malicious and everybody is trying to like manipulate data, but
my buddy calls it, like I said before, it's a misalignment of incentives. So when you incentivize people, sure, either financially or socially, mm-hmm, they will manipulate the wind, sure, a little bit, mm-hmm, and they might go like, oh, I'm not like really lying. I'm just kind of, mm-hmm, fibbing a little bit. 100%. And I think it'll help people if I fib.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure.
And that's when I was like, once I started learning how to read studies, mm-hmm, which I've done over like, mm-hmm, the last 5 years, like you start to be able to pick out, mm-hmm, oh, this got screwed with. Mm-hmm. And mm-hmm, therefore, like, this is what I say about like people. A liar can tell the truth. It doesn't mean that you should trust them. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So like if they historically lie, mm-hmm, and you can catch them in it, you, mm-hmm, have to go, I'm suspect. Mm-hmm. You might be right. Mm-hmm. This might be totally logical conclusion, mm-hmm, but I need to be skeptical of what, mm-hmm, you said, which means, mm-hmm, we need to reproduce it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Why don't they reproduce tests?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, also like funding, like how does funding for these tests even come about? Like how
usually it's subsidized and grants or whatever.
Yeah, grants, and like where do grants come from? You know,
well, who doles like, them out?
What's the foundation that's giving the grant money to what college to study what thing? And then, oh wow, you know, smoking is actually really healthy for everybody. Great news! Like, you know,
nicotine is just
making a joke right now, but like, you know, really,
but they did that.
I'm sure. Yeah,
you know,
I'm not surprised.
When 4 out of 5 doctors recommend, my whole thing now is, right, what's the one doctor say? Mm-hmm. Why does he disagree?
Yeah, sure.
So what do you think? So let's get to, you get through school or your education of whatever, and then like what, like, I don't know if there's HIPAA stuff or whatever. Mm-hmm. I know that you should not name names, obviously, mm-hmm, but what were you expecting when you started versus what you saw? Did it align, or was it misaligned? In other words, your expectation versus the reality when you started to do this.
Well, I'm not sure, to be honest. Being a therapist, I think that I was lucky to walk in with some years of experience from the clinic. I did recognize like what a big difference in mental maladies people have versus whether or not somebody has no money versus people who have insurance to pay for therapy, and the difference in problems people have. Like financial instability. Like one of my hugest things I know I'm going off on a tangent again, but
this is what this is about.
One of the things I always say, like,
once we get to flat Earth, we've completed the circle.
You can't heal trauma in a traumatized environment. We co-create our reality with our environment. We co-create our environment with our reality. We co-create our reality with our environment.
Okay.
If I live in a traumatizing environment, no matter how much I really try to help myself, it's going to be stuck. Really hard. Yeah. So if I have like financial insecurity all the time, or I'm scared like my mom's going to get deported, or like I'm scared my dad's going to come home drunk again, like, or my husband's going to come home drunk again, like it's really hard to like not be anxious all the time.
Is that the flight? You're always in flight mode? But you can't move?
There's these 3 distinct parts of this, is like this mind-body connection.
Yeah.
I can give a little like primer on that. Yeah. Okay. So like we can't escape that we have these bodies, right? That we are embodied. Like we experience our world via our senses, right? Via our senses.
I'm just gonna keep audio engineering you.
It's good. Yeah, I'm not paying attention very well to the difference. But like that is it, right? We just like pick up with our senses. What do I see? What do I hear? Like, how do I move through this life via our senses? And then my brain like understands things, and then I like give it a story, and like that's my life. Anyways, we have these 3 distinct parts of our autonomic nervous system. Okay, so our vagus nerve, you know much about the vagus nerve? You hear people talk about the vagus nerve.
Where is that?
Okay, so it's the longest nerve in our body. It's a cranial nerve. It goes all the way down our spinal cord.
Yeah, okay.
And then it looks like a root system. And then it like branches out here and like connects all the shit here. And then it goes up into our brain and like connects all of this shit in the front of our face.
I like how your clinical idea is shit.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's like this shit, like it comes out like an octopus, like a root system. It's like there's fun facts about it, like it'll wrap around the world X amount of time, or like
I remember seeing that when I was a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super huge. And so the theory around it, and I will say that the theory of the evolution of it does have some pushback, which I don't care because the rest of it is all true.
Right.
But the theory of it is, okay, so these basically like 40 million years ago, we were like these turtle creatures and all.
Wait, this is the theory?
Yeah.
We were turtle creatures?
Well, basically we were like these creatures, these whatever creatures that all we had was this dorsal vagal part of our nervous system. Okay. So what we would do is we would like go into our shell ultimately and freeze. Like that's all we could do when there was a threat. When
like
there
possum?
was a threat. Yeah, possum is a freeze.
Okay.
A freeze reaction. So we would just freeze and that's it. And that when we survived. So then we evolved and we became like reptiles. And we like had, when people talk about like the reptilian brain or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got this spinal cord and we got this sympathetic branch of this autonomic nervous system. So that goes up the spinal cord. And we got this limbic system in the side of the brain. Or like amygdala, hippocampus. So now when there's a threat, I could still freeze. Or now I could fight it or I could flight it. And then we evolved like 300 million years, whatever, became mammals. We got this huge chunker, this prefrontal cortex. We got this ventral vagal part of the parasympathetic branch of this nervous system that goes up into the head, connects everything here. So now when there's a threat, I could still freeze, or I could fight it, or I could flight it, or I could turn towards the threat and say, oh yeah, maybe this person like isn't trying to like fuck me over by taking this parking spot right now.
Right. Yeah,
they're just like not paying attention, and like I don't need to like be freaking out at them right now. Yeah.
So it's a choice.
No. So we have reactions. So autonomic being like, I'm just saying this for anybody listening, like our heartbeat is autonomic, like our breath is autonomic, like it just happens. And we have we pick up on things via what's called neuroception, which is like with our senses that our brain will never be aware of. But then we live our life. So the example that I normally give in the therapy room, I should also take a step back too. Like these three distinct parts of our nervous system, they all have different, like this sympathetic, this fight or flight, like up the spinal cord here, which also could be fawning also. Fawning meaning like, if I have like a drunk dad as a kid and
it's like you're the princess.
Well, no, I would be if my dad is drunk, right? And but maybe he's like, I don't know. I was going to take that in a whole different area. But okay, so my dad's drunk. I didn't interrupt.
I'm sorry.
No. But if my dad's drunk, let's say, and like he says like, oh, Chelsea, you were supposed to, you told me you were going to make dinner tonight. You didn't make dinner. And I know he never made dinner. Right. I know he never asked me to make dinner, but whoa, if I say that to him, he's going to freak out. So I say, oh, Dad, I'm so stupid. Yeah, you're right. Okay. I didn't make dinner. You know what? I'm gonna order pizza. I made a little extra money working at Manning, so I'm gonna order pizza and like sit down. You want a beer? Let me grab you a beer. So that's fawning. Inside, I'm like, inside, I'm having the same experience.
So is that like a response of being like overly kind, self-submissive, so that you avoid some sort of confrontation?
Traumatized people do not like confrontation. Yeah, okay. Traumatized people typically will find themselves. Yeah, falling into people-pleasing, perfectionist world.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then this like, but this.
So trauma is not just, I think people need to understand this, is trauma is not necessarily like rage or overreacting.
No, they're all could be trauma reactions.
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
And then so this fight or flight, and especially like stuff that happens when we're developing, like as children, the stuff that happens when we develop, like that sets pathways for us to just continuously fall down in adulthood. Like it's kind of crazy.
My sister calls it our programming up until like age 7 or 8.
I really do. Sometimes I shy away from using terms like programming, but ultimately, yes. Yeah.
Well, it's because I think people
get scared about it. But
it's the data and the reaction. So it's 100%. Like the fears.
100%.
Yeah. It's basically like, what did my sister say? She goes 8 years old or whatever. Like, your kid's personality for basically the rest of their life, minus some sort of profound moment.
And so the other thing too, like in this fight or flight part of the nervous system, okay, we get 30 different chemicals are released in the body that then take 12 to 30 hours to fully metabolize. So what normally happens in like a healthy so what happens in a healthy person, healthy person,
what does that even mean?
A non-traumatized, non-anxious, somebody who like experiences life with like joy and like they're hopeful about the future. Like it's all the good place we all want to exist in. So that person, you know, they're driving down the road, right? Because we have all of these reactions for a reason, for survival, right? We have like fight or flight for a reason. We have freeze for a reason, for survival. There's times where it's really good for me to be frozen, right? There's times when like
when the bear's walking by you in the woods.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So the 30 different chemicals, right? Adrenaline, we get a huge dose of adrenaline, right? And then what happens that we get adrenaline over and over in the brain, right? That becomes cortisol. And then we're in like this stress world all of the time. But ultimately,
I just realized something. Just keep going. Okay.
Ultimately, so it takes, if I'm driving down the road and somebody pulls out in front of me on 81, right? And my sympathetic nervous system, thank God I have it, I will just step on the brake. I don't think step on the brake.
Mm-hmm.
I just do it, right? I just step on the brake and I'm safe and I'm chill. Okay, I'm fine. And then this ventral vagal part of the nervous system, prefrontal cortex, safety and connection part of the nervous system turns on, says, okay, we're fine, we're safe, we're chill. Like, let's what's called move up the ladder. And like, I forget about the whole thing. But let's say that happens and then I don't know, I get here and you just like start screaming at me out of nowhere, right? And I get, bam, those 30 chemicals again. So I'm already processing the 30 chemicals from 81 15 minutes ago.
Right.
And now I got these chemicals again being released in the body. And I'm like, whoa, what's happening here? And then I hear people fighting over at the restaurant outside. And I hear like some, whoa, and maybe I have like a trauma reaction. Or like I hear like somebody's voice that sounds like my creepy uncle or whatever.
Right.
And bam, that's happening again. And then I go home and I'm like a total asshole to my husband. Or I'm like, I just start to drink because none of this feels good.
Right.
Or I start to help myself get out of this bodily state. Yeah. And then what happens ultimately with things like complex PTSD is that I'm just stuck in this part of my nervous system. This good old safety and connection never gets to catch up. And then the crazy shit is, and then when I'm stuck here, I'm probably going to fall down into what I call Death Valley, which is the dorsal vagal part of the nervous system, which is like the freeze part of the nervous system. Like this is why when we're really depressed, we have no motivation to do anything.
Right.
Literally the body is like, whoa, we got to conserve our energy because we might need to run away from the bear. Later. So let's not take a shower.
Right.
We can't take a shower. Our thoughts are directly correlated to where our nervous system is at.
Yes.
Which is crazy shit. Like that we don't have access to hopeful thoughts about the future when we are in this fight or flight part of the nervous system or when we're in Death Valley.
Right.
Like it's kind of wild. And I see it all the time show up in things like like somebody who's depressed. I'll say like, well, what about going for a walk? You know,
sure,
getting some exercise. That's going to be really good for you. Their first reaction to me is going to be, I don't have any sneakers really.
Oh, that's
or
a good
like
reason.
There's no place I can walk around my house right now. Or, you know, I'm so tired. Like I just can't get out of the house, or like my neighborhood's really dangerous. I can't go for a walk. Their first thought is going to be how they can't do anything to get out of this state, because this autonomic state is like, well, we're in big danger. Like we can't move. We can't get out of here.
Yes.
So that's why breaking out of depression is so hard. Like our first thoughts are going to be, yeah, we can't, nothing is going to change and we can't do it.
Because you almost have to like bypass all your feelings and demand that you do it.
Yeah, you have to like kind of gaslight yourself, to be honest. Yeah, like you kind of do. You kind of do have to gaslight yourself a little bit.
Do you think it's lying to yourself, or do you think that you need to like?
It's not lying to yourself at all.
So this is like the thing that like where I think you and I would be saying the same thing but different ways. Mm-hmm. Where it's like you have to like I listen to people, like some of the people I hang out with are very like, you got to get the fuck up. Mm-hmm. You can't let yourself you know, get into whatever place that you think that you're going to get into. And it seems like a tough love. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it is. It's like a tough love thing where like, they're like, you have to, you know, like nobody wants to get up every day and go for like a hike or, you know, run around the thing. But like when you listen to them talk, they're like, yeah, there are days I don't want to do that. And I have to force myself into doing that. For sure.
Yeah. I would be curious about the type of like inner talk that happens because
you mean inner talk, like what like
the inner monologue.
Someone would think to themselves. Yeah. Do you know some people don't have that?
Yeah, some people have a hard time being able to.
It was like 50% of the country or something, or people. I read a thing where it's like 50% of people don't have like an inner monologue.
Yeah, I think people can be able to pick out their thoughts, but like to what degree? Like, I, for sure, not everybody is like, oh yeah, you're doing a great job driving on 81 right now.
Yeah.
Like you're doing a great job talking to Marky right now.
Your hair's
like,
so
whatever.
pretty.
Like that's for sure. Also, it's disorienting to people, I find, to be able to, because here's the other thing too, like to be able to sit and like actually listen and observe your thoughts. That's disorienting to people. People are always on the go. People don't want to sit and just observe their thoughts. We all get attached to our thoughts and let that drive the show. So Freud's, what does Freud say? Id, ego, superego.
Where does that? What category does that fall under?
I don't know. I cannot answer that question
because you're not a big fan of Freud.
No, I hate Freud. I hate Freud, to be honest, and the harms that he has done to Western psychology.
Why?
Yeah. Can I mean, I'm going to go off on another tangent.
Let's go.
Sigmund Freud. Oh, this man that is the daddy of Western psychology. Okay, so he was like, you know, he's seeing these patients, like seeing these patients and all of these women, and they're all telling him.
Is it mostly women?
Yes.
Weird.
And yes, and they're all like being a crazy bitch, right? They're like crying all the time. They like, you know, have these big mean reactions to disproportionate stimuli. They have are seemingly disproportionate stimuli. They can't sleep. They don't want to take care of their kids. They don't want to like go do the laundry. They don't want to do the chores. Like they're not happy. They're miserable all of the time. Okay, well, he has all of these women patients, and whoa, what does he find in common of all of these women patients is that they've all had sexual abuse growing up.
All of them.
They've all experienced sexual abuse growing up. Okay, so he writes his first pamphlet about his studies and what he's learning. And he puts this in the pamphlet. All of these women seem to have this one thing in common. They all have some type of sexual assault, word, like sexual trauma in their history. Okay, and he publishes it, and then his peers all come to him and they're like, ooh, Freud, we got to talk to you. Yeah, you got to take that out because this is too disorienting to the culture. If we put this out, that sexual abuse is this rampant, that's going to be way too disorienting to the culture. So you need to bring this back and rewrite this pamphlet. So guess what? He does that. He rewrites the pamphlet and he comes up with hysteria. All of these women.
That's where hysteria came from?
All of these women are just suffering. They just have brain worms. They just have something is just wrong with them. And they all just have hysteria. And then people like, I can't say his name, Charcot, Charcot. He's like another French. He's French. He's not German. He's a French psychologist of the time. And he like goes on to purport this. He like hires homeless women and does these like demonstrations, these presentations to the public about hysteria to like back up how like, yeah, hysteria is real.
So he's taking overly traumatized people as the example.
Well, he pays these homeless women to and he tells them, act crazy on stage. And like, we're going to give this backstory and you're going to be this woman with hysteria and we're going to, and like falsifies this whole show, this whole thing.
Yeah.
And then that gets to be part of really our true foundation of Western psychology, that there's just something wrong with people, that people aren't the reason they are for reasons, that people have social conditions that creates a imbalance in the body and in the brain, and then they act out to stimulus. That's not what we got from Freud. What we got from Freud was, oh yes, some people are just fucking crazy.
Two things. I don't know how good of a person Freud was in hindsight. Once you start reading literature that like people who were against him at the time. And the other thing that like I didn't realize over the last few years, I finally realized, I didn't finally realize it, but I was like, why are there so many abused children? It is pervasive.
1 in 4,
and it's weirdly
girls, 1 in 6,
and it's weirdly dark because we don't talk about it.
Yes.
And we push it to the side.
Yes.
Like I've noticed this, and this is just me noticing. There are a lot of, we all know that like the sides are picking about like, you know, the LGBTQ community. Everybody thinks that like, you know, whatever they think about them. But one of the interesting things that like I noticed was that there's a very disproportionate amount of some sort of abuse having to do with sexual abuse.
Yes.
And why are those people not shot who abused them?
So childhood sexual abuse, CSA, is like one of the biggest disruptors of the nervous system.
Am I correct in saying that like that community disproportionately, it seems, has
what community? LGBTQIA?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't make a comment on that because I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I do have theories about but they're theories. They're just theories. And they're not about LGBTQIA.
Why can't you talk about theories? We should be able to talk about hypotheses.
Well, I do wonder about like human biology, male biology, and I don't know. Like I think about myself. Do you remember Twist? Did you ever went to the Twist?
The gay bar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was in high school.
Wait, that's the one down in like Pittston or Wilkes-Barre, right?
Yeah, I was in Pittston.
First time I hung out with my wife.
And they had, I love that.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
They had underage nights.
I went to one of them.
In high school, I used to go
with my wife, not like a creep.
Okay. Well, that's I'm not okay. So I don't want to put any kind of like negative judgment on. Yeah, I don't know. I want to be careful with how I say things, but I mean, I would go there with my gay best friends, and we're like 14, 15 years old, and my gay boyfriends are hooking up with, 30-year-old gay dudes.
That's weird.
So like that is prevalent, right? That was like prevalent in culture.
So when I think about things like that, now I was in therapy for like the better part of like 20 years, and I finally got out. When I think about that, I look at it two ways. I look at it that those older men are definitely not being honorable people.
Yeah.
And I think they're taking advantage of vulnerable people. And then I look at the 15-year-olds and not to say that there's something wrong with them, but something happened in the past for them to think that that is okay.
Well, I also wonder about like being,
does that make sense?
Well, I wonder about being like a horny 15-year-old boy who's gay.
Well, when you take men and you take out the idea of whatever in nature is the thing that like attracts men to women or blah, 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 men are pretty much dogs.
Yeah, for sure.
So now you put dogs with dogs,
yeah,
and it gets real crazy.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like I don't think that all 15-year-old boys who hook up with 30-year-old men have some kind of sexual trauma in their past. I mean, I will say my best friend, Eric, R.I.P., he didn't have sexual trauma, but like both his parents died when he was like 3 years old.
So like, something happened.
He had some stuff.
So when I said what I said something happened in the past. I didn't necessarily mean.
I would say that maybe the predilection to engage in risk-taking behavior.
Risk-taking, maybe that's what it's called, risk-taking behavior.
I would say, yeah, for sure. That's true. I mean, we're going to gay clubs, drinking Hypnotic, like at 15 years old, like
Hypnotic,
you know, like acting a fool.
That was the stuff that tastes like, it was blue and it tastes like blue. Onions or something.
Yeah,
right?
I don't even remember what it tastes like, but like that world though. And I mean, I'm not gay somehow. I love my husband.
He's a good dude.
Don't know like how.
He's a real good dude.
I'm not gay sometimes.
Maybe because you love your husband.
I love my husband. Yeah. I don't know. My bad joke. I'm not going to make my bad joke. But like, yeah, like that, I don't know. I can't talk about being gay as like whatever being gay, but I do know like, yeah, men are horny, right? 15-year-old boys are horny. They want attention. We all want attention. That's like human in general.
Sure.
So like I don't know what there is about like widespread sexual abuse, and I can't make comment about
I just started noticing in the newspaper and stuff. I'm like, in our local newspaper, and it's like once a week or more, there's some sort of some sort of weird thing that has happened to do with a child.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And I think about like back in Freud's day, like if the statistics now are like 1 in 4 women, 1 in 6 boys, which I definitely think is not true. I think it's probably higher than that, especially for boys.
I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah, I don't think I'm wrong either.
I think it might be.
I've listened to friends talk about like being in the locker room and like the coach being there and like whipping each other like with towels and like hurting each other and like making each other be naked. And like I've listened to a story like this and I was like, that sounds like abuse. Like that sounds terrible.
And I think about like, what were the incentives to make that okay? Like how does nobody in the room go like, TV timeout?
Well, that's another.
What the fuck is going on here?
That's another great area to talk about, like group mentality, like, and why people don't stand up and say something. And also like even like the theory of shame today, like why we shame people and like what shame really does. Like is
shame good or is it bad? Depending.
I would say I cannot wait until we evolve as a species to not have shame and have understanding and connection.
The Japanese would disagree with you.
Shame is like a Death Valley. Yeah, they would. Shame is like a Death Valley experience. It's a dorsal vagal experience. Like shame is you cover up, like you go small into yourself. That is.
Yeah, but isn't there an argument to be like if you are unashamed, because there are things that are, and I think shame maybe come from a biblical or religious. It has that connotation when you say like Game of Thrones, shame. But I think that there needs to be a certain sense of shame for some things.
Yeah, I mean it's a human emotion. We're gonna feel it.
I don't think that like you should take Cersei through the Game of Thrones screaming shame for everybody. But if it's an egregious,
yeah. Well, the theory behind shame was like when we were like hunter-gatherers, whatever, back in the day, if somebody stepped out of line and like that was going to fuck up the whole group safety. So we'd shame them so that they don't do that shit again. And then. But
usually it was like, you know, if it's like, oh, like in the movie where like the guy was supposed to like stand guard and fell asleep. Mm-hmm. Like maybe a situation like that.
Guy, right?
Because you don't want to do it again.
Right.
100%. I read an article about a guy and he was overweight and his friends were really concerned. They want him around. They liked him, you know, and it was like, it was a crazy story about like this guy who ends up like losing all this weight, being incredibly healthy. And his journey to get there was his one friend every day would text him in the morning and say, it's time to go work out, you fat fuck. Some like shit like that, like every day. And this guy actually credits the buddy.
Yeah.
With making him, he goes, finally one day I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. I can't fucking take it anymore.
I would say that even that though, I would see that through this context of either we are always operating ultimately out of safety and connection or out of risk and danger. Ultimately, we're operating out of these two places. I'm either safe and can be connected, or I'm in danger. Somebody's going to judge me. People are going to call me fat, whatever.
Yeah.
Just his friend reaching out to him and connecting with him every day, even if he's saying like, yeah, you fat fuck, go to the gym. Like that's safety.
For some reason, it's funnier when you say it.
That's safety and connection though. That's safety. That's a sense of safety and connection. I might not like what he's saying, but I know my friend still loves me. But it's. I
think that might be a big problem about what's going on in America. is that we ended up being this hive mind where we're supposed to think that like in isolation. So, and I mostly blame, you know, these things and social media and stuff like that, where it's like, I remember being back in 2004 when MySpace was a thing. And I remember looking at my buddy in film school going like, we were never meant to know what each other thought. Like that's a dangerous place to be. And it also gives people a lot of freedom to think that they should. Where back in the day, it was, you'd never know at all what somebody thought. And you just see them at the poker game or at the salon or whatever. And you never know. And now we're at this place where we feel like if somebody says something or does something that we don't like, we therefore need to stop it in any way possible. And I think that that's dangerous.
And what has the culture been? The culture is to shame. The culture is to cancel. The culture is to say,
I'm totally against that.
Say, what's wrong with you? Look at what's wrong with you. Look at this person. How could somebody be so terrible and point fingers at that person? That's not safety and connection. That is only causing more divide. That is only and that's only teaching us to engage in that way.
And it's incentivized.
And it's incentivized, right? Because then people are going to like clap their hands or whatever.
Or get the like or heart or whatever. And I think it's dangerous.
It totally is dangerous. And I mean, I went to that Rod of Iron Freedom Festival.
Tell me about Chelsea going. Now, okay, let me ask you this question. Because the only basis that I knew for the Rod of Iron Festival, I think was a Vice documentary that I saw.
Yes.
And then let's say I had my weird awakening and I started to talk. I didn't look at people now as like in a box. I wanted to know who they were because I think everyone is an individual and they need to be understood. But I started talking to people who like, oh man, I go every year. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like a fucking crazy, like, why would you go to that? Like they started to tell me about it. And I'm like, that doesn't seem like everyone's there. Like you would think a cult or something crazy. And I was supposed to go this year and I didn't go. And that was the thing that reconnected us.
Because you said, did you really go to this?
Because you posted it and I was like, did you really go to that? And you were like, yes, I did. So what did you think? Why did you go? What was your experience like? Like, what did you think before you went? What was your preconceived notions?
So I knew that there was...
Because like in a certain group, you going there is foreboding.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think too, people thought that me and my friend went like... Well, somebody said this to me. Somebody said like, oh, I'm glad you didn't just go there to make fun of them. And I said, I said, yeah, that was not our MO. I mean, we did have like some whoa...
There's some goofy moments at
there
those
was
things.
There's lots of experiences that like, okay, yep, this, because I am, you know, I said this to you before we started doing this. Like, I know that politically we might seem to be very on different sides, whatever, but in reality,
I don't think we are.
No, but that's the truth. In reality, like, I just want to connect with people and I want to like understand what people believe. And I was talking to Ed about this last night too. I was like, you know, I think one of the best ways to connect with people is to like go into a conversation with somebody who thinks differently than me and like look for where I can expand my worldview and be shown that I'm either incorrect about something or like maybe there's a different way of thinking about something.
Or I don't agree and I don't hate you.
And like, well, yeah. And that's like the ultimate thing that I want to do to people is be like, oh, I'm somebody who like is on the left, who like also like loves Jesus and like wants to like
Do you love Jesus?
I do love Jesus.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
But I love Jesus and like how like a lot of Christians would call me probably like a Satanist, or at least I would have, like in the weirdo Christian churches I went to when I was a teenager. Like, because I do believe in Christ consciousness. Like I do believe in the Holy Spirit. I do believe in like, I want to live my life so that I can be a vessel.
I understand all the Christ consciousness totally different now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I never really understood it. I was never open to it.
And the church, like the West, like nothing can make me depressed like Western Christianity. Like the Bible is so beautiful and like what they've done, what has happened ultimately like through the state in order to like control people, really.
I think it's all a system of control.
It is like to take the esoteric, like the actual experience, the divinity, the thing that doesn't have words, like the spiritual experience, to take that away so far away and just be with the exoteric, just be with the read the book, do the thing, do this or you're going to go to hell. Do this, la la la, stand up, sit down, sing these boring songs. But like, what is the reason? The reason is really, it's supposed to help you have an experience with the divine. But that's not really what's happening. I don't see people. If that was happening, we would be in a different world. I'm positive about it.
I think when it comes to religion, I don't think it matters what religion it is.
No,
I think there will be those charlatans that come in, and it's not just like, oh, you're a priest of the cloth, means that you're totally you have
Holy.
your degree in psychology. You must be able to talk to anyone. It's so great. I think there's monsters that hide in these places.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's a weird evil where they want people to not follow this or this, but them.
100%.
Yeah. And so don't think that like, I think people need to really rationalize with that, because just like any institution or whatever, it gets bastardized real quick and it gets taken over by evil charlatans.
Of course.
And you think that they're right.
Yeah. And you're told that you're not, this is the other thing too, like you're not wise enough, smart enough, good enough to be able to like understand things on your own or experience things on your own. Like, and that's not true. Like that you need to have like, I also believe like religion is the exoteric, and then there's spirituality, which is like the esoteric.
I think one is like the believing of, and the other one is the practice of.
Yeah, I would put it that seems to line up with my own understanding.
I didn't change my. Did you ever see the movie Stigmata?
No, I have not.
Are you familiar with it?
Slightly.
It's like Patricia Arquette. Like it was like in the late 90s, and she was experiencing the wounds of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always fascinated with religion. And there's a line in there, and I don't know if it's true. I don't think it's true. I think it was written by a writer in LA. But the line is, it's about the lost gospels of Christ, which come to find out the Gnostic gospels, and they never let them. And the line is, I am not in buildings made of stone or houses made of wood. I am everywhere, which is a total thing because the movie's about like crumbling the Catholic Church. Interesting. And I always found that like that would be like, why do I need to go to a place? Yeah. Why can't I just be? And then I found out the church is like anytime two people get together, it's church, and it's. But to your point, they take it and they turn it into something that is not what the original intention was.
And it makes me cry. It makes me so sad. Yeah. So I love Jesus. I'm on the left.
Good for
I have
you.
Spiritual life. I try to live my life intentionally. I try to live my life intentionally. And I don't know, I also have the privilege of being able to sit with people and get to know people who, if it was me, who have different ways of thinking, viewing, understanding the world. And I have the privilege of like being a safe person to them, not judging them.
It's a big responsibility too.
And it's a privilege. I feel so lucky to like have my job, to be honest. I feel extremely privileged to have a job that I love, ultimately. If I had to do straight CBT therapy with people all day long, I don't know. That? Cognitive behavioral therapy, it's like ultimately like, yeah, it's lineage. Definitely, you can trace it back to Freud, like it's what everybody learns how to practice. I have thoughts, I have feelings, then I live my life. That's all true. But like, if I'm not in control of the first thoughts that I have about things, because my nervous system is activated. So when I win the lottery ticket and my first thought is like, great, I'm going to have to pay taxes. And I like feel, because I'm just have this depressed body going on. So that's the first thought. And then I complain about it. And then that's my world.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't know. We have to like help the body regulate. Like we have to do somatic practices.
Okay. Yeah. Rod of Iron.
It was a great time.
What did you?
Great time.
When did you hear about it? What did you think about it?
I saw the Vice documentary, and then I saw like a few years ago, I got really into it. I researched, I did see like the connections to like the Unification Church in Korea, like the Moonies, which I know.
The Moons?
Yeah. So I was interested in that, and I saw they had General Flynn last year. I saw they had Sebastian Gorka. The year before that, I really wanted to see Sebastian Gorka speak.
Do you know who they were supposed to have this year? It didn't go.
No, who?
Roseanne Barr.
Oh, that would have been great.
She was supposed to go, but she's shooting a TV show now.
Michael Flynn was a great speaker.
Did you go to the gun shoot the night before?
No. But you know what's so funny is there was so I went with one of my dearly beloved friends.
Yeah.
Who...
Now, is this person considered politically where?
She would be on the left. Yeah. Okay. She would be on the left with me.
So you guys theoretically went into the devil's den.
Yeah.
Okay.
We drew so much attention. We drew so much. When we walked in with General Flynn was speaking, when we walked in and they have the sheriffs standing there, just looking at people. And we walked in and the one sheriff just stared at me and her the entire time. I don't know if they thought we were going to make a racket.
Probably.
Yeah, I have a feeling. They did ask if General Flynn took questions at the end. I really wanted to ask a question, but I was like, that'll put a mark on my back I wasn't going to ask anything. What would have been the question? I wanted to ask him about the terminology and labeling Antifa as a domestic terrorist group, while the website that they have explaining the Rod of Iron says that they are against fascism. Uh-huh. So I wanted to draw the connection between somebody on the left who's anti-fascist, which with their group that says that they are also against fascism.
It's an interesting thing. This is the thing I've been trying to understand the last 5 years is how do people like you and I see the same thing and come to different conclusions?
Because of all of our different lived experiences that bring us to these points, but then we get to have these conversations. And then you get to understand me, I get to understand you. Hopefully people listening to this
I hope they do, who
maybe find themselves more on the right or whatever, hear me talk. That is my hope. That is why I went to the festival. That's why I want to go to other places and just be a kind person. I would I
think you'll be surprised.
Well, I'm sure. I'm sure about it. People were receptive and kind to us. And my friend, though, there was a BB shooting contest.
How'd she do?
She definitely won. She's a great shot. She's a talented person, a great shot. And she definitely won. You had to do it for both days and we couldn't go the second day.
Oh, okay. So I get, yeah.
But they
So is everybody nice to you?
Yeah, and people were finding ways to come up and talk to us. We were literally eating where everybody ate, but everybody needed to come up and ask us what are you doing
how
here?
Our
food is.
Yeah, okay.
What's the food like? She talked Japanese to the one lady. There was equal Asian, East Asian, Americans.
Was it a diverse group of people
versus white people? I saw 2 Black women when I was there.
So it was mostly Asian and Caucasian.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Were you nervous?
And there was older people. No, because
rolling up, were you nervous?
I love people. I do. Yeah, okay. I was not nervous. I was I wasn't nervous. I had no fears about it. The same with my friend. She's just we'll go. And I don't know if I knew that nobody's going to be oh, we can smell that you voted for Bernie Sanders. Right. Get out of here. I knew that wasn't going to happen. I got to wear my camo skirt that I've never gotten to wear. I wore this gun t-shirt that I've had that I never got to wear. It was a great time. It was so much fun.
So how was it? What was your feeling when you left? Did your perception change? Did your opinions change?
Was just that I can see 2 things stood out to me. Well, I guess 3. Well, number 1 is how nice everybody was. Number 2 was that there was 2 things that I did take issue with that was being communicated there that really bummed me out. Which was fascism equals communism, which also equals socialism, which also equals fascism somehow.
It's called the horseshoe theory.
That's fascism just as communism and socialism. And that's obviously dangerous for people to think that fascism equals communism or socialism, because that's
I agree.
Not true.
I agree with that, and do you know why? Because as we said before, I don't think anybody should tell anybody what to do. I don't think anybody should subjugate people.
Yeah.
The problem with any of these isms is that it all branches from the root of authoritarianism.
Yeah, fascism does. Yeah, for sure.
Well, so does communism. Because it's always some authority telling you what you can and cannot do, and it's usually it's the state.
Yeah,
and the state is telling you.
I would agree with that, but also I would think that democracy is also that.
Well, I mean, I guess it all boils down to, at the end of the day, it's like, what do you know how many Bolsheviks it took to overthrow the monarchy in Russia, the Romanov monarchy, to usher in Lenin?
No idea.
6,000. Mm-hmm. It was a small amount of people. Mm-hmm. And most people, the thing that makes me have fear is that most people, when push comes to shove,
yes,
they would rather, what was the nerve that makes
you freeze? Yeah, you're going to hide. Yes.
And most people freeze.
Yes.
And brave people are very few.
That is true. 100% more.
And that's what happens in these, and the idea of communism and socialism and fascism, which I believe fascism was coined by Mussolini. And he defined it as a marriage between the state and corporations. That's how Mussolini defined
I know
fascism.
That fascism is linked, like its origins is linked to Italy. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was like during Hitler's time. So like you have the Nazis up north, and then down south was Mussolini, who was considered the fascists. They just had a different way of doing it. Mm-hmm. But it all led to the same place, which is not good for human beings.
Yeah. I mean, fascism ultimately is just like, it's just a way to enforce power.
Well, the problem is nobody can really define it. That's the problem with communism, fascism, socialism. Well, they can give examples of what it is, but you can't define it.
Well, I would say fascism. I'd say fascism is the application of authoritarianism over any type of government.
But that's all forms. That's monarchies.
That fascism could be applied to a monarchy. Fascism could be applied to a democracy. Right. Communism, socialism.
And there's only a certain group in charge, and everyone else has to be subservient to them. Yeah, this is where I had the same experience where I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is fascism? What is communism? And I didn't think, I didn't know what to look for because no one could define it. It's like, here's a bird. How do I know it's a bird? Here's a TV. How do I know it's a TV? But when it comes to these political words, they really can't be defined. So you really can't identify them.
I think that some of that is
it becomes like this
purposeful.
Opaque.
Well, I think that some of that is purposeful. I think that some of it is like that we were there and like literally just being like, communism equals socialism equals fascism equals socialism equals like all of that was like, yeah, this is just to confuse people. Like this is to just like keep people into believing that communism is the same thing as socialism is the same thing.
I'm telling you, there's people in that crowd that it made total sense to, and it would have made total sense to me.
But I'd wonder about that though.
It's called the horseshoe theory. Did you ever hear this? So here's right, here's left, here's, they say the right, the right will lead to fascism, the left will lead to communism. That's how they define it, right? The problem is that right here, at no matter which side you go, you end up with authoritarianism. So it doesn't matter whether you go this way, it doesn't matter whether you go this way.
I would say that we don't have the same definition here in fascism of fascism. That you and I don't have the same definition of fascism.
I don't care. I don't care what the definition is. I just know where it leads.
Yeah, I'd say that fascism.
Like, do you realize how frustrating it is for somebody like me to be called a fascist? And I am like, it's the last thing in the world that I want.
Yeah, I think that we need I think that
which means I don't think anybody understands the definition.
People have no idea. That's the problem. Like, that's the problem. I totally recommend anybody listening to read Michael Parente's book, Black Shirts versus Reds. He gives a really good description or good definition of fascism. He talks about fascism starting in Italy and then, through the Nazis, and like even there's like debate over whatever. Who cares? I'm not skilled enough, learned enough to even scratch the surface of this, but like whether or not like the Nazis were fascists, they definitely were. But like that fascism ultimately is like this authoritarian flavor.
Actually, do you know what Nazi stands for?
National Socialists?
Yeah, they were socialists.
Well, they were National Socialists.
See what I mean?
But but this is okay. So I do know this about the history of fascism in Italy, which is it was linked to having nationalism. Like that is really how they got into the hearts of people of saying like we are the Italian.
So let's define nationalism. How do you define that?
Love and allegiance to your country.
Why is that bad?
I'm not saying that it's bad.
Okay. So when people say nationalism, though, there's a connotation for people who don't understand
because
the definition.
Because of the Nazis. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what it's a pejorative.
I don't want to say it's because of the Nazis, but I think that the Nazis probably highlight that.
So both my grandparents fought in World War II, right? One in the Pacific, one in Europe, right? Both of them, there was nothing more fucking patriotic than those two guys, right? Flags, love of country, every that. Critical of the bad things, but ultimately, America is literally the best place on earth to them. And they would today be called nationals. When people use the word national, it has a negative context to it because most people don't understand or know the definition of it. They just think it means bad.
Right.
And I think that it's really important that we understand the words we're using and 100%. What they mean.
Yes.
And I'm not accusing you. I'm doing a TED talk right now.
Yeah.
And I think it becomes really dangerous 100%. when people start calling people things that they themselves don't fully understand.
100%.
Because if you're using examples in history, I promise you they can go for every other country too. It has nothing to do with what the perception of what that means is, because it's like fascists ate bananas. Other people eat bananas. When you start to correlate those things together, everything becomes evil.
Yeah.
And that's a dark thing to perpetuate.
And this is where like the world too of like shaming and fight or flight come in, because like, whoa, I don't want to be called like, I don't want to be called like
the thing.
I don't want somebody to like, somebody comes at me and they say, well, Chelsea, what do you mean you're a democratic socialist? Like you want fascism. Like, don't you want I don't want somebody to come at me and say that. And if I am like, I get pissed about that and I say like, well, how could you not know the difference between fascism and democratic socialism? Then I am going to react and push back against them, right? And then that's not creating connection.
Let's pause for 1 second. I got to change the battery. I love this. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah. Is this okay? Yeah. It's nice that you didn't like record for like, a half an hour and like it not actually be recording or something.
That's why I have like, it's not an ego thing. It's not like I want to see myself. We've just had the disasters before where it's like, happen. The camera didn't work for 10 minutes. Yeah. So no, we're good. Okay. Now you were saying democratic socialist.
Yeah. So if somebody says to me like, oh, well, you want fascism because you're a democratic socialist. And then I get pissed at them and say like, how could you be so stupid? That's not what it is. La, 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 la. I'm not connecting with them. I'm not helping them learn about anything. I'm not learning about anything. But if we stop and say like, oh yeah, wait, hold on. What actually is the definition of fascism? Like, what do we understand about fascism and what is the definition? And my definition would be an application of authoritarian power in order to benefit the authoritarian regime. A great way to get people on the side to do this, because none of the people, like nobody chose, people definitely chose to be Nazis, but like the general population were not like, yeah, let's like round up all of these people and like murder them. Like, but when the state gets that pushed on, yeah, but when the state is like pushing that, let's genocide these people. Yeah. I don't think anybody in, sure, let me not say that because 100% there were people who just wanted to do genocide for sure. But I don't think that the mass population of Germany was all like, yeah, let's go ahead and murder all of these types of people in this category. But when there's the pressure of like, oh shit, this terrifying thing is happening, we're not going to stand up and say anything. We're going to say like, okay, yeah, this is fine.
Did you ever hear something called the shock doctrine?
The Shock Doctrine is the book that ripped open my brain. It was the first book. Yes, yeah. I love Naomi Klein. Yeah, The Shock Doctrine is the book that like the first book that I read right before I went to grad school. My copy of The Shock Doctrine is like insane. I have like
notes and shit.
It's so insane. Yeah. But like that is it. Like, you shock people, and like people can't, we go into freeze. We can't do anything. I always say to Ed, like, the times that like the right and the left are going to come together is like when it's 10 o'clock at night and I'm looking at my neighbor with the, you know, the red flag or the blue flag, the flag that's different than mine. And I look at my neighbor and I like shout over it. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, we're not allowed to leave our house past 10 o'clock at night anymore. Right.
It's kind of crazy that
like we can't, like that's when we're going to come together.
It's kind of crazy that we're not allowed to go to Home Depot. It's kind of crazy that we're not allowed to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
That happened to us over the last 5 years.
Well, yes, I agree.
And I think that's
I agree. In things like hyper-normalization, like making things normal. Making things normal. Oh, it's normal. This is normal.
Yeah. Once, what did Robert Kennedy say? He goes, once they take a right away from you, they will not willingly give it back.
Yeah.
And
I don't know that quote, but it sounds about right.
It's throughout history. You know, they do these things. That's why I kind of got real, some would say, crazy about the COVID stuff, because I was like, they have no right to do this.
I got crazy about the COVID stuff.
I was crazy for the first 2 weeks, and then I was like, what's up? Something's weird.
Yeah.
None of this makes sense.
I had a panic attack watching the first debate between Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, because there was nobody.
That was like January, wasn't it?
It was.
Oh, no, it was later, because they shut down in March. Yeah.
It was the first debate, and there was nobody in the room. And I was just like, this is crazy. Like, I've always been into like conspiracies. Like, that would, if somebody told me,
we would have a nice campfire talking about conspiracies.
Like, if I was in 2014 and somebody told me, or 2015 and somebody told me, hey, Chelsea, you know, in 2020 you're not going to be allowed to leave your house. Mm-hmm. You're there's going to be a virus from China that is like, we don't know anything about it.
That was maybe made by the Americans,
but it was probably made by people who have agendas, dare I say, in whatever kind of way. And like, you can't leave your house, and like, also your phone is like collecting your bio data to like show you everything that you look at, and like that also like creates and Jeffrey Epstein also is like gonna get arrested, and people are gonna know Jeffrey Epstein's name again. Yeah, like my brain would have been like what do you mean? Yeah.
If we were to look back in history, let's say it's 500 years from the future, what would we call that moment?
What, COVID?
It seemed like a global. Here's the thing, the COVID stuff. Mm-hmm. I've been called a COVID skeptic, vaccine denying, whatever, from our newspaper. I was like you, right? I'm not talking to the group. I'm talking to individuals, and I want to understand what's going on. I talked to a state rep. I talked to doctors. I talked to nurses that were in the hospitals. I don't give a damn what the press conference said. And when a certain politician said to me, I know, this was late April, early May of 2020, after 2 weeks of Flatten the Curve, it has now turned into a month 2. And he said, look, I met with him, like physically. And he goes, I agree with you. He goes, this is all fucking smoke and mirrors. He goes, but we were told by the governor that if we didn't toe the party line, we wouldn't get any funding for the projects that we want, and we wouldn't get any support for our re-elections. And I said, then don't get reelected. And he goes, wait, I can't. And I was like, now I know. And that's when I went, I'm not going to live in the delusion anymore with everyone else.
For sure. And I mean, yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about COVID, the vaccine. Something that I do find interesting is, and I'm not trying to like, I'm not, when you put this out, we use the name Chelsea Taylor.
I'm going to use whatever name that you want.
Yeah, that's the name I put music out under, and use that because
you want me to use your musician name.
Yeah, I'd rather that.
So that the fucking worst, the worst COVID crazy people
listen to my music. Arts. I would rather them listen to that. You would like I just put out an EP, and it's called the Intrepid Faith Hymnal, and it's all about like how to have faith and like how to be brave when the world around you is crumbling down. It's on the internet, you know.
Is it on like Spotify?
It's on Spotify.
No,
it's very weird.
You keep talking. I'm on it.
It's very weird. Don't listen to it now.
Nothing is weirder. Did you hear who is it? Andre 3000?
It's a beautiful album. His flute album.
The new shit that he's doing, it's actually really good.
Yeah, well, I will say that his flute album, it's a beautiful ambient album, actually. But that's
what I was listening to. It's really good.
I recorded all of this. I put I made a meditation at the end on cultivating intrepid faith, like how to be brave, how to What
do I look up? Because Chelsea.
It's under Sower, SOWER, SOWER. And then the intrepid faith.
But do I type in Chelsea?
No.
SOWER?
Yeah, SOWER. Yeah. And then
is this it?
Nope. The intrepid faith. Oh, it's this one.
Intrepid. It's the second one?
It's that one, I think.
This one?
I bet that's me. Yep, that's me.
Yo, check this out. You just got to follow.
Yeah, I am not doing I have fun with my music. I recorded all of that at home in a span of 2 months and put it out because I felt called.
Chelsea, you're a fucking artist.
I felt called to do it.
Who gives a shit? But
I'll say this about the vaccines. Is what I'm afraid to say to link it back to whatever.
You're afraid to say?
Professional life, because I think it's interesting that vaccine got a whole new meaning.
They changed the definition, yeah.
That vaccine used to be something you get so that you don't get something, but the COVID vaccine is you get it, but it's not that bad. Which I think is very interesting in the manipulation of language.
It's very important to listen to the words that people use and how they use them.
I agree with you for sure.
I started to look into etymology.
Yes, I love etymology, to be honest.
And what are these words supposed to mean and where do they come from? Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting where they come from. Mm-hmm. As far as I'm just gonna be totally honest. I now have a very high skepticism of the medical field, and I know lots of doctors, and there's this one doctor that my family is friends with, known him my whole life. Mm-hmm. He was first it was, I'm not going to get the Trump vaccine, mm-hmm. which everyone said in 2020, mm-hmm. and then all of a sudden we get a new president, and it becomes everyone has to get mm-hmm. the vaccine, mm-hmm. and if anybody's familiar with World War II, there's this thing called the Nuremberg trials, mm-hmm. and they have the mm-hmm. Nuremberg Code, mm-hmm. and the Nuremberg Code says you cannot coerce, manipulate, or persuade anyone to take a medical intervention, and they can stop at any time. And there is mm-hmm. basically all the things that they learned from Mengele we weren't mm-hmm. going to do, mm-hmm. and I saw them doing it, mm-hmm. and it scared the shit out of me. Yeah, it scared
the shit out of me too. Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that I knew I could do was I needed to use my voice, mm-hmm. and I needed mm-hmm. to push back, mm-hmm. and I needed to know that either I wasn't alone, mm-hmm. or I'm the guy in front of 1,000 people saying you're all wrong. Mm-hmm. And that's when people started to hate me. Mm-hmm. And mm-hmm. that's when it got real. Mm-hmm. That was the biggest thing to change mm-hmm. me was mm-hmm. how the people treated me.
Yeah, they shamed you, I bet. Yeah.
And I didn't really care. Mm-hmm. And using your rod of iron mm-hmm. example, because we're all talking about psychology mm-hmm. and whether it's mm-hmm. you went there and mm-hmm. they accepted you. Mm-hmm. If I went to some mm-hmm. left event, mm-hmm. they probably wouldn't accept me, because I've gone to a few and I've gotten a lot of words said to me about being there.
I would say that, I would say.
So if I'm basing my reality mm-hmm. on which group is accepting of everything mm-hmm. and which group isn't, mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it's the left.
I would see if we could find a sense of connection around this, because if you went to a group that had people like me and my friends and people who do mutual aid work, mm-hmm. people who are actually trying to do something and create change and better the community. I can tell you people would be happy to have you. If you came
I'd happily go.
If you came in and you were you guys are all fascist commies, and
I don't think those two go together. Do fascism and communism go together?
Listen, fascism is an applied is the application of authoritarianism.
But so is communism.
Communism is a system of government. It is a system of government. It works great when you use fascism.
Yeah, but see, the thing
works great when you use fascism to utilize to make communism work.
Is communism good for humans?
I have no idea. Let's
look at history. How many people have died under communism rule in the last century?
Even this though, like, okay, I don't know, probably a shit ton.
It's hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
It's hundreds of millions of
for
people,
sure.
right?
I'm sure.
I have the same feelings for fascism. I have the same, and the problem with socialism, right? Now, socialism is good in small, in my opinion, socialism is good in small doses, but unfettered, it turns into communism.
Sure, like anything, yeah.
Right. And the problem with it is that just like the frog in the boiling pot of water, when you get in and it's cool, the frog will die. If it's hot when the frog jumps in, it'll jump out. So if I go to North Korea tomorrow, I'm like, get me the fuck out of here. We have to always be vigilant and be careful about if socialism and socialism as a form of government could very easily turn into something authoritarian.
Yeah, I would say that.
And it has in the past.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not arguing with that at all.
And I'm not saying you're wrong in the idea. I think here's what I've come to the realization of, right? When I was up until 39 years old, I was a Democrat. Hardcore Democrat. No, 40. Yeah, because I switched in 2020. Everything that I believed was all the things that I believed in like the 90s. Where it was like freedom of speech is everything. Even if you're willing to say the moon's made of green cheese, the ACLU would defend the Nazis for having their parades. As much as they hated the Nazis, you have the right to have a parade. Race relations were in a much better place in the 90s. And I didn't think that we were different. I thought like if everyone ripped their skin off, we're all ugly. And that's how I look at the world. And then something happened where the only thing we focused on was our differences. It became the identity.
Yeah, for sure.
And what other forms do that? It's fascism, communism. They only focus on the differences.
I would say
historically.
Well, I would say that is the way to control people though. Like that is fascism. It is the make people different than each other. In Buddhism, there's the concept of the unreal other, which like we do it all the time, which is like, I see other people as unreal to me. Like I see somebody and I say like, how could somebody be such a monster? How could that person is a monster? How could anybody think like that? How could anybody be like that? Whatever. That person is like that for a reason. They are a human and they have those thoughts, those feelings, those behaviors. I might judge them as terrible, awful, but they do those things for a reason. The more that I can see that they're a human and understand that they're the way they are for a reason, then I can align with them. But if I don't do that and I see them as the unreal other, I ultimately am taking away their humanity, which will allow me to treat them like less than human. So when I say that person over there, that Republican over there, that MAGA guy over there, he's not like me. He thinks terrible things. He hates black people.
Or that white guy or that Christian.
That white guy over there, he's terrible. Oh, that blue-haired commie.
The unreal other?
The unreal other. Yeah. And we all do it. Like we all do it. But the more that we can see it, and then connect with people. But that is the way. That is the way. I do believe that the problem, I don't want to use the word fight, but that really is what it is. That the fight is the struggle. The struggle is in capitalism, late stage capitalism. The divide between classes grows and grows. The top gets bigger and bigger. The bottom gets lower and lower.
But what do you think happens in fascism and communism?
People make more, the people that were on the lower and lower, we're distressed. We hate it. So if people were to connect with each other and see like, oh, we're all in the same boat here, then we're going to have revolution. And that threatens the people up here.
I saw something that no one talked about during COVID. And it was like year 2 or 3. They were trying to mandate New York City. And MAGA and BLM got together and marched against the mandates. And you didn't see one frame of it on the media.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And it was like, because I said that's what they're afraid of.
Yeah.
They're afraid 100%. Of these two disparaged groups coming together, and 100%. We have
100%.
And we have more in common than we do apart.
Because that's what threatens the top here. But the top is who has the resources to really do shit like people mind control. Mind control is real.
They're doing it right now.
Even like you and me having this conversation, somebody listening to it, we're in their minds. Like that is like a base mind control, right? And then
my hope is they can discern whether or not I'm a crazy person or I have valid points.
Right.
I hope that's there.
Yeah, this is not nefarious mind control. But when we are like constantly getting types of messaging over and over, and that being paired with a sympathetic fight or flight experience in the body of, oh, this isn't safe for me. It takes less than a second for a sympathetic experience to get imprinted into the body's memory. So like when I'm a kid and I'm walking down the street I walk into the street and the car goes by me and it honks its horn and I get the shit scared out of me and I jump on the sidewalk. That takes less than a second for that. I got sympathetic part of my nervous system. It takes less than a second. So I don't walk on the street again. It takes 15 to 30 seconds for a positive ventral vagal experience to get imprinted into the body's memory, a safety and connection experience to be imprinted in the body's memory. So if I were to do it, it'd be like, right now I'm having fun. I feel happy. I'm with a friend I haven't seen in a long time. I'm talking about things I'd like to talk about. I feel like smiling in my face. I feel like an upward current of energy in the front of my body. I feel like a grounding in my butt, like where I'm sitting on the chair. I feel like my mind just wandered. I feel like, just sense of smiling. Okay, everybody, we still have 15 more seconds for me to really imprint this positive feeling into my body, into my brain to reference this. So when we're running off of this, whoa, these people over here are crazy and doing terrible things. Whoa, these people over here are going to come after my whatever, money, farmland, whatever. And I get that sympathetic fight or flight reaction in the body. That experience gets way more lodged. That experience gets imprinted into my memory. Like that's kind of the crazy shit.
Well, what I think about it is I think about like it just goes to prove that love is harder than hate. Do you know what I mean?
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that.
So it's
love
harder
takes effort.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And hate is easy because it's just.
And it can be scary, right?
Sure.
Yeah, it can be scary to not hate. I also think about this.
Scary to not hate.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be. I think about this a lot. About how trauma ultimately is disorienting, right? You like,
yes,
whatever. I never thought that my best friend was going to die in this car accident, and I just went to his funeral, and now I'm pumping gas at Sheetz, and like everybody else is like walking around having a nice time in their old reality, but I'm in this I'm in a new reality. Version, yeah. Okay, so that's disorienting. Trauma healing is also disorienting. Being able to recognize like, oh, whoa, what I like believed about something is not true. Okay, that's disorienting. And that, whoa, I've done like shit. Because if we're traumatized people, trauma reactions are not just like, oh, you never do bad things. Traumatized people do bad things.
Yes.
Traumatized people do bad things. So when we can see like, oh yeah, shit, whoa, I have to maybe look at these areas of guilt or shame I might have about actions I've taken and see that I've done something wrong or whatever, or I've made choices off of things that were wrong or whatever, that's disorienting. I think about my dad's 84 years old.
Good for him.
And I think about how he grew up learning about in like eugenics and shit, and like learning like that like black people's brains are like smaller than white people's brains, right?
Can I blow your mind a little bit? Wait,
can I just finish my example really quick? Okay, so in like if you believe that and like believe that like black people are like less capable than white people, and then like you treat people that way, and like maybe you're kind of shitty to like the waiter at the restaurant, and like you say like to your daughters like don't get with black guys or whatever, and like you're kind of mean to black people or whatever because you believe that they're inferior or whatever, and then you learn that that's not true. You have to reckon with the fact that like, oh shit, maybe I like treated people shitty, and like I could have like been friends with my neighbor, but instead I like always cursed him or whatever, and you have to come to terms with that. And most people don't want to do that because that's painful.
Well, I mean, it's just the thing of like, look, you were alive for 9/11, right? Mm-hmm. People, when we got on planes after 9/11, somebody walked in that looked Middle Eastern. Mm-hmm. We all thought it.
Sure,
we all in our head thought it, and I think that like, I think that like thinking things like that, right? Which 35,000 foot view looks to be coined as racist or bigoted or whatever. I think that's a I think that's a natural, what would you call that? Like a natural, like, awareness response for safety, right? Because your eyes are a way to understand a threat.
If that's what you know as dangerous and that's what you're being told is dangerous, of course, you're going to have the immediate thoughts of like, ooh.
It seems today, by today's standards, you'd be like a racist or a bigot. But my view on it was like, okay, does that person have a bomb? Oh, they don't have a bomb? Oh, they're a nice person? Mm-hmm. Great. Mm-hmm. I'm so happy that I was wrong about that. Mm-hmm. But the original...
Sure.
Where society is trying to tell us to not have the safety mechanism first, mm-hmm. You know, mm-hmm. and we're now labeling it some pejorative as
100%.
But the truth is,
us divided.
There's so many people that like, and I don't really dislike people anymore. I just don't like evil people. Mm-hmm. There are so many times where nothing has made me happier than being wrong.
Yes,
about my first impression.
It is a gift. Oh, yes, about the first impression for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there are like, I have my black friends, they're like, yo, white guy comes in our neighborhood. We're like, what the fuck is that? Mm-hmm. That's strange. That shouldn't be here.
You're going to have
so it works all these reaction. It works all these ways. But the point I'm trying to get to is that, like, regardless of where you're from, regardless of what your insecurities are and your ego stuff is that most of the times in those situations we're wrong. Sometimes we're right, but it's good to have that first moment of being. And I'm not saying like if your fucking waitress is black and you're a piece of shit to them because they're black, fuck you, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people who like believe that was like that was okay to do, or for whatever reason, it's okay to like not.
They're assholes everywhere.
And like to have to reckon though with the fact of like, oh shit, like, whoa, what I really thought about like the fucking, black people is wrong, or like what I really thought about like the CIA and like how they protect us and like care about us is wrong. Like that's disorienting of, oh wow, wait, our government would like actually like instill fascism in countries like Venezuela, Indonesia, Chile in order to create, ultimately like banana republics and like
that we can control
and to have like this neoliberal agenda. That's disorienting. Like it's disorienting to learn like, oh shit, wait, I was taught America's the good guy. Like we're the good guy.
This is probably going to get me a lot of shit if people listen to this, but I think I think we have to recognize that we have over 800 bases across the world, and we are not the good guys to a lot of people because all we do is we go there and we, you hear the term, it's like you just go bomb brown people. It's like we kind of do that. We need to stop doing that.
Yeah, and then we like get to be able to have good trade policy, make a lot of money. People on top get to like, whatever.
Well, there's nothing. The largest transfer of wealth in human history happened during the first few months of COVID. Did you know that?
Interesting. No.
The largest transfer of wealth in human history went from you and me to whatever those top people are. Mm-hmm. And,
that's it.
I think, so here's the way I understand it, and the way that it was explained to me is like the difference between America and everywhere else is that when you have a middle class, mm-hmm. right? Because in other countries, like go to feudal England or feudal Europe or China or whatever, it's like that. It's literally the haves, the have-nots. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. So you're either a subservient slave who has to do what the state says, or you're the one eating crab cakes mm-hmm. in the palace, and you could just tell people what to do. The thing about America is that it had some sort of middle class that was allowed to kind of help dictate the future of where we were going. So and when COVID hit and it was like, oh, we're destroying the middle class, I'm like, here is the outcome. The mm-hmm. outcome is going to be the haves and the have-nots, mm-hmm. not the have-somes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that that's Democrat or Republican.
No, it's not. And it's it gets enforced via fascism, because if we get to all connect down here,
keep coming to this word and I don't think it's right.
If we all connect here, we're all going to be like, oh, holy shit, we are under fascist America. We are under censorship of our words. We are under censorship of ideas. Yeah. The other thing that I thought was a little bit that shook me at the Freedom Rod of Iron Freedom Festival was the positioning of freedom of religion being more important in the First Amendment than freedom of speech. And that got me a little scared, to be honest.
Well, first of all, those people, like, look, everyone I've talked to said they're really nice people up there. I'm not saying this to disparage them. Religion cannot come before speech ever, and these people will never be in charge to make that happen, and you have to be vigilant.
Well, I was a little shaken that General Flynn said this.
Well, they're religious people. You know what I mean? If you look at okay, so Michigan right now, Michigan right now is having like this explosion of like Islamic full council. Like there's towns that are just totally run by people who have immigrated and are Muslim, right? They will put religion first over anything. And because generationally, this is what it is, right? And this is not a negative, this is not a pejorative against, it's just a thing that they do. So we had, if they can't do it, because I think they can't, then no one can do it. I don't care if you're Catholic, you're Jewish, whatever, religion should never come before. But there is something, something to be said about particularly Christianity, the way it kind of carries itself and the way it's supposed to be seems to be better for mankind than most other religions.
Yeah, it'd be nice. I think that
like the pursuit of it.
Yeah,
not the leaders of it, because they're all scumbags. Most of them are.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that it is just being used though to like my fear about it, because fascism is like censorship of words, censorship of thoughts, ideas, not being able to communicate with each other, and so I
keep bringing it back to like so is communism.
So I don't know if that's necessarily true though.
It's the same. I'm telling you, it's the same.
I don't know if that's necessarily true.
My wife comes from Russia.
I know. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I was going to say that before. Like, I obviously have not lived under a communist. I'm also not a communist. Like,
no. I'm not saying that. Like, I would probably push back less if you were like under a fascist or a communist. I'd be like, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, no, but I won't though, because I don't. They're not the same thing. Like, we can have a society with fascism here in America under a so-called democracy, technocratic society, whatever the fuck we actually are.
That's a big fear, the technocratic shit.
Well, and like that, yeah, and like legit, like fascism is just the means of utilizing authoritarianism. Like that. See,
I don't think authoritarianism is a separate way.
I do.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do.
I don't think you can separate.
I have a question then. I have a question then, because then,
you can ask me whatever you want, by the way.
Then, okay, so then does there need to be like a different type of word or something to explain like what is happening in America?
I don't think, here's what I think. I am highly against any subjugation. Like, I'm a hardcore Constitution guy. Like, insofar as.
Yeah, you have it with you.
Right here, right? I never thought I would be that guy. And that protects everybody. It protects the people I don't agree with.
For sure.
I don't see a differentiation between any. All I see is freedom or oppression. That's it. I don't see any. I don't care.
The COVID lockdowns. Would you say that was a?
I thought it was authoritarian. Yes.
Okay. I think that maybe we just have to use a different word, although some
would say communist, some would say fascist.
I would say fascism for sure. Like, and
I don't see the difference between
communism.
To me, they're both baseballs.
Communism is like is ultimately like the dividing of all money in order to create a commune experience.
Sure, and in theory, it works.
But I'm saying that's ultimately what communism, and it might only work when you use fascism.
No, so communism, like if they've believe it or not, you can look up studies about this, right? So like the communal living thing, right? The good of many, all of us, we're all working towards the common thing. That's the underpinning idea of communism, right? Marx was kind of a piece of shit, and even his fucking family hated him, but anything over a group of like 100 people, it always turns into authoritarianism.
Well, you're going to need authoritarianism in order to, like, you're going to use authoritarianism to enforce the whatever system.
So the crazy thing about this is there's something called common law. Have you ever heard of this?
Yeah. Give me a definition though.
Okay. So common law is basically like the rules of God. Right? Common law, strangely enough, I've done like 4 podcasts with dudes about common law. They're brilliant. They're sweet guys, but they're totally like, they don't believe in the judicial system. They think it's a fraud. They think it's a way to like subjugate people and force them to be debt slaves and committing 3 felonies a day and all that shit. So common law is basically persons and property, right? It boils down to that. So we can all live together well as long as you don't fuck with my person or my property. Could be my goats, could be my trees, could be whatever, right? If I accuse you of impeding against that, you have to defend yourself against that. We don't need a court. If we can't come to a resolution, we have a jury of our peers, which is the town. You know, Billy did this, Billy didn't do that, right? And we all agree that after showing evidence, it's real, right? Your claim is good. You owe him restitution of X, right? The strange thing about this is like that whole concept was so foreign to me 5 years ago. And now that I'm, and it's hard to understand because it's like trying to understand Greek. Like, oh, they're just speaking to you in Greek and you're like, oh, I get all these concepts. It's a hard concept to understand because we've been programmed to not understand the concept. It exists all over the world. Small tribes, groups of people who don't have formal governments, they basically all have common law. So how the fuck did they all know that like, if you fuck with my person or my property, everything else we're cool with? That's basically like where I stand with everything. It has nothing to do with like forms of government or fucking tyrannical groups in the past. How come Nazis didn't exist before World War II? How come fascism didn't exist before World War II? How come communism didn't exist before 1913? What were they called before that? They all have different names,
right?
But it all leads to authoritarianism, which is the boot on your fucking neck.
Yeah, 100%.
So when I'm trying to push back on the fascism thing because look, whatever side you think I'm on, and I'm more aligned probably with right, we look at what the other side is doing as communist. All the behaviors of communism. And then you guys look at this side as fascist. And I'm the one going like, whether it's fascism or communism, I don't want either one of that. I want total fucking freedom of people. That's it.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I agree. Like, I do think, and you're smart, Marky, and like you're smart. You have emotional intelligence, and I think you have an open heart. I bet that you would be. I do believe you have an open heart.
It hurts a lot. My heart hurts a lot. Yeah.
And I think that, and I bet that we could come to because I already hear it. Like, it just sounds like you want to use the word authoritarianism, and the word maybe people on the left are quick to use as fascism. But like the messaging though is going to be, whoa, if like the people on the left want fascism, they want communism. That is definitely not true. Like, most people on the left.
I don't see many people on the right holding Mussolini signs.
Yeah, I also don't see many people on the left holding Mussolini signs.
The Democratic Socialists are the ones that are also funding whatever this No Kings is this weekend. So like,
no, that's not true. The Democrats are MoveOn.org is.
No, it's like Democratic Social. There's like this whole website of all the people who are donating and helping and blah blah blah.
I bet that they have signed on and co-signed it, but MoveOn.org.
That doesn't mean I'm mad at Democratic Socialists.
No. But I'm just saying, like, just to say, like, it is like, I see the No Kings March as, I do believe protest is the lowest form of resistance. It is good for people to get. It's true though.
I've never heard it that way. I've never heard it that way.
I mean, it's good for people to be able to come together and see, like, okay, well, yeah, we all
I heard it wrong.
Other.
I misheard you. I'm sorry. Continue.
No. Protest is the lowest form of resistance. Protest is the lowest form.
It's the word. Yeah.
Resistance.
I heard it in my head wrong, and I shouldn't have did that.
Oh, I said something wrong. Okay.
No, you didn't say anything wrong. I took it in wrong. Okay.
But I mean,
but what's being resisted?
Well, ultimately, what people on the left are seeing is things like ICE agents coming in, federal military federal law enforcement being employed in places like Mount Cobb, Pennsylvania, or whatever, or beating the shit out of people in Chicago and soon Pittsburgh. And I always say, I'm not trying to scare people, but ICE is the tip of the iceberg. Like, as somebody who is an anti-fascist, I am an anti-fascist. As somebody who is anti-fascist, anti-authoritarian means stepping on my rights as a human being, as a woman who lives in America.
What rights are they stepping on?
Well, eventually they're going to step on my rights to say that.
I don't think so.
I hope not.
Yeah, but I don't think so.
But even that guy,
is there something to be said about like the algorithms, the TV?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Is there a way for, is it possible, just like advertising, you say it 3 times, they believe it. Is it possible that all these fears are very misplaced?
It is, but I'll say this.
But like, are you willing to entertain that idea?
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay, so then we have to be really careful about how we speak in certainty. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, this is but it is my like legitimate fear.
No, I understand that. I understand that. What I'm saying is there's 2 things. Is it possible that these fears are misplaced?
Sure.
And the second thing is we need to be careful about things that we say are going to be absolute in the future. Because we don't, I'm
not saying that that's something that happened.
So when people say things, and I'm not judging, I'm not saying anything about like what you said was wrong, because I have a real concern about even me saying things like that.
Yeah, you should.
Because I'm like, I don't know what the end zone of this is going to be. I do know that if we continue to move this way, this is more likely of a possibility.
As somebody who,
but we should stop. That.
As somebody who I'm not a Democrat. I guess I am. I have not voted.
I think we're all anti-fascist. Even the right is anti-fascist.
That is the truth, Marky. That is the truth. We are all anti-fascist. And like the purposefulness of like, oh, we need to put on make this boogeyman right now about Antifa and like people
they're real.
But I will say this, like
I've been watching their violence for at least 5 years, and I know that they've existed for 10.
Well,
you might not be being served this or know where to look for it.
Listen to me. I can show you videos of me marching with the IWW, which is aligned with, typically gets misplaced as Antifa. Like
unions?
Yes, BB. Yes.
Didn't they just endorse Trump?
I don't think the IWW would.
Which one's that?
The Industrial Workers of the World. They're the oldest.
The Industrial Workers of the World?
Yeah.
Not of America?
It's the oldest union ever. Like, yeah. Anyways, like Antifa comes from like, it is new in the terms of like 2000s. It's showing up.
No, it's not. It was in Italy.
Well, for sure. But I mean, like Antifa, what we know today, like the red and black flag.
That was in Italy. And France.
Yes, I agree with you. This is true. What we like American Antifa, whatever, because I've met with people. Like I am Antifa. Like I've been in.
Yeah, but I think we all are.
That's what I mean. But
like there's even whatever side you think I'm on. I'm anti-fascist too.
I think that most people are anti-fascist.
Yeah.
I think that most people are Antifa. But there's no like, as somebody I've organized for the Green Party, I used to be the vice president of the Lackawanna County Green Party.
I didn't know that.
For 2 years, I was the secretary for the other. We tried to like, after organizing for Bernie Sanders, and like we tried to get assimilated into the Young Democrats, but they wouldn't let us. And like, that was cool. And so anyways, we did the
all-inclusive party has their doors locked. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, we did a lot of good work though, and I'm really proud of it. But I got the experience, I got to go and meet a whole bunch of people, and I got to like, and even before that, I was exposed to some different types of people, but yeah, like I used to go to the Electric City Socialist Reading Group that was in here.
What the fuck is that? What what do you mean? Like
it was like a book club.
I was just gonna say, is that a book club?
It was a book club.
But what are you reading?
Like theory and like discussing theory and like because nobody. Also, I'll say this. Like I always say that. Like I read. Ed and I have not had television ever.
That must be amazing.
Like it's. I do have the internet. I have my phone. I definitely have a phone addiction. That is sure, but. I am a reader. Like I read a lot, and I have the luxury of like having a job that like I'm not constantly under. I mean, I'm under a lot of stress, but like not under huge stress that I can't like read a book. Like I can read. I went to Abington Heights, blue and white. Like,
so did I.
I know. Yeah, I was.
Were you
like
a cheerleader?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, you did it really well. You did it really well. You did it like you did it for a bunch of years.
But like I got a good education. Like I can read a book. Like I got to go to college and I got to go to grad school. Like I'm lucky. I'm so insanely privileged that I can read information and understand things. Like,
do you feel guilty about that privilege?
I feel guilty if I'm not actively using it for good, for the benefit of all beings.
So you feel like you owe something.
I feel like my own personal like spiritual life calls me to try to create a world that is the benefit of all beings.
But do you feel called to it, or do you feel like you have to because of guilt?
I don't feel like no. I feel like I was that I have an insane privilege to do this. Yeah. That I have an insane privilege too. Like, this is what people would call like post-traumatic growth, of like having fucked up. My childhood and my adolescence was fucked up. My ACE score is 8.
I don't know what that is. What's an
adverse
ACE score?
Childhood experience?
And what does it go to 10?
10, yeah. And like the more ACEs you have, like literally, of course I was addicted to heroin. Of course I was shooting up heroin at
also,
17 years old.
Bravo for crushing that.
Yeah, thank God. But like, thank God I like had these experiences, because I would not be exposed to any of that world.
No.
Any world of like, what is it like for people in jail?
Yeah, but you've been in the darkness.
What do you mean?
Like you've been
real suffering and shit.
You've been in the darkness.
Real big
like
T trauma.
Who better to try to help people than somebody who's come out of the darkness?
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that. And I think that it is like lived experience, because that's the other thing too. Like, it's so funny in my job, I hear the same fears from everybody. It's all the same fears from everybody, regardless of their political affiliation. Everybody is just having the same fear, and that's really what it is. Like, it breaks my heart. Like it because the truth is, like, we're humans. Like, we got to like love each other. This is our one precious life.
I love you. I think there's a lot of love in the world, and I think we have more in common than we do apart.
We do.
And I think me pushing back on you a little bit.
Not even really. Just, we ultimately are talking about the same thing with different words.
Yeah, I think that look, you came out of a darkness, I came out of a darkness. And I think that there's a wisdom there. And I think there's a lot of people in this world that don't have that wisdom.
I agree.
And they're rolling off of
what's
ideas and things, and without, look, if I want to understand what it's like to go through heart surgery, I don't ask the doctor, I ask the patient who lived. And I think that's really important to do. Yes. And we're not, and we're not doing that. And I really hate it. I hate the ideas of saying that like things. Look, Donald Trump is not the fucking Messiah, right? I don't know anyone who looks at him like, I mean, look, sometimes people do the effigies, but like they did that for Kennedy. I still know grandparents who have JFK up in their living room, right? He's fallible. He's imperfect. A lot of the times he admits it. I was incredibly wrong on my hatred of him when I was earlier, before COVID. I look at him now as, he's a 90s Democrat. All the things that he's doing right now that everyone's calling fascist and all this is why like the word, I guess it triggers me.
Purposefully.
I don't know if you're trying to get a rise out of me. I don't know if people say that to get a rise out of people, but it's like calling someone a racist who isn't a racist. And that's why it bothers me, because I'm like, it's not that. Yeah.
And it's purposefully though being
But is it purpose? But who's purposely using it?
Because fascist regime.
Yeah, but you called it fascist.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But I don't think it is.
But it's the manipulation of like, you hear the word fascism and you have an immediate reaction. Just like
I know what Mussolini was.
But then I hear something like ICE agents and I have an immediate reaction, right? And then I'm going to, live my life based out of this fight or flight.
So the concern for me in that topic is like, look, when I hate fucking being the guy who's like, when I was growing up and we had to walk uphill to school in the snow both days. Obama got rid of more illegal immigrants than Trump, and we never called him fascist. Why is it now? Like, I look at it as like whatever happened with the border, when you allow upwards of 20 million people to illegally come here. And trust me, when countries go like this, we got some pretty shitty people in our countries, and there's a country that we can just send them to and they're not here anymore. That's what Colombia did. That's what Venezuela did. That's what Argentina did. They didn't send the best and the brightest. They sent the rapists and the murderers and the terrible people up here. Yes, there were of course there are people who are fleeing from like, this just sucks. I want to get out of here and I want a better life in America and I might have family there, right? But the problem is like in my point of view, when you leave a border open and you allow the horrible people with the absolutely beautiful people, you have now ruined it for the beautiful people. And that's what happened. Yeah. So like the ICE stuff, like my wife's an immigrant. Do you know what pisses off immigrants more than anything? I had to go through the whole process. Right. You didn't. For sure. And you're getting fucking healthcare. And you're getting fucking free room and board. So people like immigrants, like I'm friends with like a lot of immigrants and they love ICE. We want ICE. Like, because they came illegally.
My problem with ICE is that the usurping states' rights. My problem with ICE is coming into places and not working with state police or the county.
But it's obvious that those places didn't do anything prior to this. Do you know what I mean? Like they let it happen. They let all these people come here and they let them do whatever they want with no consequence.
I would say. And
then you got a guy who's going like, you have this TV show guy who everyone's like, yeah, I want my town safe. I want people to fucking follow the rules.
I would push back a little bit too.
You should. If you don't agree, you should.
Well, I would push back just because when I worked at the clinic, yeah, I don't know. I'm like afraid to like say something about working at the clinic, but I'm afraid like something happening to the clinic, to be honest.
Then don't say it.
Yeah, but I could say that that undocumented people in Pennsylvania do not get Medicaid or Medicare. There are certain situations, of course, this is true. Undocumented people in Pennsylvania do not qualify for Medicaid or Medicare.
But they're legally not supposed to, but they're getting it.
They're getting it because
like there's a law that says they're not supposed to, but they're getting it.
Well, I would wonder what that is, because I can tell you what does happen is that undocumented people don't have healthcare, but then they go to the emergency room, like most people do when they don't have healthcare, and then they get a huge bill, and then they can't pay the bill. So then the government via funds through a Medicaid fund goes and pays that debt for the hosptal.
Right. So they're getting it for free.
So yeah, 100%. They're getting that. They're getting that emergency room visit for.
But my point is like they don't just there's an assumption that they're like, oh, I broke my leg and I'm undocumented and I go to the hospital. They know that bill is going to get paid. They know.
I would say yes and no to that, because
you don't think that in the community they're going to be like, oh yeah, just go to the hospital, man. You don't have to pay the bill.
No.
And there's no recourse because you don't have any documentation or citizenship. The worst they're going to do is deport you.
Yeah, I will say this, like working with this specific population that we're talking about here in terms of getting access to medical care, that people do not go to the hospital because they are afraid of getting a huge medical bill. And people do at-home surgeries. People do at home.
I mean, but that can't be to a degree that's like, oh my God. Like it can't be like if you have an illegal immigration population and like the smallest percentile is the one doing home surgeries. Also, I think that people who live in foreign countries that are doctors that come here, they shouldn't be working at car washes.
Yeah,
they should be working in hospitals. If they're qualified and they can do it, they should be.
Yeah. I can tell you though, Marky, like that the undocumented people that I have also had the privilege of getting to know and help be able to get medical care, none of those people were people like, oh yeah, let's like go purposely like fuck over the hospital. Most of these people I
don't think they're going in there to destroy the hospital.
Yeah, but I don't think they're like, oh yeah, let's like, we have a cold, let's go to the ER because we're not going to have to pay the bill. I don't think that that's the case. And I can say for certainty from my experience that that's not ever what I've experienced. I've experienced a lot of people who are in fear. I've experienced a lot of people who like don't know what to do when like the fucking...
Are they coming to you? Like you're not... So perspective matters, right? And it's like, you know, like you have come out of the dark place, right? Most people don't go into the dark place. So all they do is hear about the dark place.
Yeah, for sure.
And they hypothesize upon it and think that like, you know, oh, this is... But the truth is like only people who have been to the dark place really truly understand it.
Experienced,
right? You see, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying that it's possible that like when they come to see you, they don't tell the whole truth.
Yeah, that could be true for sure. What I was doing there was qualifying people for our services. Like that was a big part of it. Another part was I did do a lot of therapy practice, which was very cool and fun. And I also helped people talk to hospital systems who had outstanding huge ass bills, people who were dying of cancer and their MRI, like the estimated cost for getting an MRI was like $140,000.
How is that possible?
Right? Isn't that disgusting and crazy? I knew multiple patients who died while I worked there because they weren't able to get medical care. Yeah, undocumented and like American citizens.
So I feel like doctors, and I don't think that they adhere to it anymore. I think it's like an oath of office. I think they do the thing and then forget that they made the pledge. But I think that the Hippocratic Oath is sacrosanct. I think that they should all participate in that.
I agree.
And the problem is the incentive structure. The hospitals.
Well, that's it. And it's capitalism, ultimately. Like, it is like making money. It is capitalizing off your skills.
If everybody played by the rules, capitalism would be great.
Yeah.
They don't play by the rules.
Yeah, because 100%. And this shit is like just the bottom is going to get deeper. We are going to need the slave class. Ultimately, like the slave class is going to get lower and lower. And then the people at the top is going to get higher and higher. That's ultimately where we're headed. You know, they say like what comes before communism is late stage capitalism. Like that's what
they say, but I don't.
I mean, I don't know either. I'm not a communist. I'm like, so this is where I like have to be a little audacious. And like, this is where, if people listen to this whole fucking thing,
you'd be surprised who does.
This is where they're going to be, this is where they're going to be like, this lady is crazy now.
I don't think you're crazy.
I definitely am not. I mean, I'm a little crazy and fun, but this might be where I lose some people in that. My hope is that we like evolve into some new place, some secret third thing, something where we all can have safety, connection, love, and not be oppressed. Because we all of us, I don't know any billionaires. Like
I know a few. It's weird. I can't believe I know billionaires now.
I know no billionaires. I do not think that I know any billionaires. I don't think I've probably met one or two.
Financially, I would be considered a slave class.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know billionaires.
Yeah.
And can I tell you something crazy about them? The ones I met are really fucking nice people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sure like this is my own like spiritual work I have to work on. Like I do so much
they're not all the devil.
Yeah, I agree. And like people are the way that they are for a reason. Like people make the money and have the money and have the means to make money and do the things and work hard and whatever in order to be where they are in life. Yeah. But like, I just look at the people around me and like all the fear and suffering and division and like, I just have to like believe and like live my life that it's possible, that there is a different way.
I thought of that too. And that's what I really thought. I'm like, there has to be a better way than this because this is fucking pain for everybody. And the truth of the matter is the only conclusion I can come to is that like the fucking Constitution.
Sure.
That
would be a new way though, right? Like if we all like get back to like actually caring about the Constitution.
That would be the third way.
I mean, that's the third way for sure.
That could be the third way. Everything about it is like you get rid of the corruption, you get rid of the bureaucracy, you get rid of the incentive structure, you get rid of anyone who profits off of anyone's pain. Sorry, man, you are not a good person. You are not a good person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm considered a fascist.
Yeah, from people who don't know what fascism is.
But that's my point. This whole conversation is like, we don't know.
100%.
We don't know.
And they don't let us have these conversations. And when I say they, I mean like groups like the fucking CIA. Like I do mean groups
they're totally... Turn your phone off.
Well, there's no way around it. Like there's no way around it.
No, it sucks. Edward Snowden showed us that.
Yeah. I mean, even one of my favorite stories is, I know we got to probably go soon, but like Alan Dulles, like the creator of the CIA.
Yeah, who was his number 2 guy?
I forget his fucking name. I just looked this up recently. You know what his name was?
George Bush.
Well, okay, yeah. After him. I'm talking about the guy who worked side by side with him, side by side with Dulles. God damn it!
Angleton.
Yeah. Angleton. That
scumbag.
Angleton was like, I'm going to go to hell and I'm going to see everybody there. I'm going to see everybody I know in hell. And that I think I said this to you, like whatever. At some point in a parking lot, I have a memory of saying this to you.
What a strange way to start a story.
Like of us meeting and like me probably going on a tangent about fucking the CIA or whatever, Alan Dulles. But like one of my favorite stories of like the influence of the fucking CIA and imposing things like, whatever anti-communist regimes in Indonesia to kill people via the use of fascism, to have dictatorships and whatever, have murder squads in Chile, in Venezuela, in all these fucking places, and to use fascism in those countries to ultimately instill the regime that was going to be good for his brother and his friends who own companies that are going to be able to operate there now and take, get all the bananas, whatever. Okay, Kennedy, JFK fired Dulles after Bay of Pigs, right?
Do you know why they killed him?
Well,
he said, I want to break the CIA into 1,000 pieces and scatter it
100%, 100%, because the CIA fucked over JFK. The CIA did Bay of Pigs, and then JFK was like, all right, Alan Dulles, you're out of here. So he fired Alan Dulles.
It was actually the Bay of Pigs that made him say that.
Yeah, and he fired Alan Dulles, and then he took all of the shit out of the CIA headquarters that like showed Alan Dulles' face and basically removed him.
And he basically started it.
He did start it. He started in the OSS and then created the CIA. Yeah. And
who was the OSS working with?
100%. And who was profiting? IBM, Ford, like all of these big companies. Bayer, 100%. And we weren't working with the people we want to believe we were working with.
So you know that like after World War II, we took all the Nazis, right?
100%.
Yeah. 100%. And then we put them in charge of NASA.
100%.
And in the media.
Yeah. And we also, I mean, Finkelstein, you never read Norm Finkelstein?
I know the name.
He's a genius. He wrote a very controversial book that I don't want to talk about it. I'm too nervous. I don't want to give my name.
See, but this is terrible that we would be nervous about talking about a thing as just.
The book is The Holocaust Industry, and it talks about like what happened with like people's bank accounts, like who died in the Holocaust. And
where'd that money go?
I
want to.
But wait, my quote about Dulles, my final quote about Dulles, though, is that like somebody asked him years later after Kennedy died, I wonder how, why, somebody asked Alan Dulles after...
He was on the Warren Commission.
After he dies, years after, somebody asked Dulles, like, aren't you like offended? Like you created this entire huge agency for America and like you're nowhere to be found in there. And he said, well, it doesn't matter because like I exist in all things everywhere. My influence exists in all things everywhere forever. And there is a statue of Alan Dulles that basically has that same quote in DC that is just like, I exist in everything everywhere. I have done this much manipulation.
Do you believe that the CIA, in their charter, it says they're not allowed to operate on American soil? Mm-hmm. Do you think that they... I
mean, that's already been proven wrong.
Okay. Do you know what something called the Smith-Mundt Act is?
No, I don't know what that is.
So after World War II, the United States passed an act called the Smith-Mundt Act. And the Smith-Mundt Act was put in place because of what they saw happen in Nazi Germany with propaganda. And what it said was basically that you are not allowed to propagandize your people in the United States. Anybody. Anybody who is like an American citizen, an American company, the CIA, anybody, they can't propagandize the citizens. Do you know that was revoked? Do you know when that was revoked?
When? I don't know.
2012. Do you know who revoked it?
Who?
Obama.
Well, I was going to say this before when you're talking about Obama. Like, I'm not saying Obama is not a fascist.
If you look, if you look, go back and look at like the Google stuff, right? So Google can say, 1,700 people have looked up the word sneakers in the country, right?
Yes.
When you start looking up the buzzwords, such as fascism, racism, bigotry, blah, 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 and you look at it on the timeline in 2012, it spikes. And it goes up and up and up. And you know where those instances were coming from? The newspapers.
Yeah. Right.
The TV, the cable TV shows, blah, blah, blah. And it was it was the New York Times, it was the Washington Post, it was Rolling Stone, it was all this stuff. So they were now allowed without any retribution to propagandize the American people.
That is what I say about like the word fascism, like giving an emotional reaction. Like that is what I think is happening. I think that that's being used to stop us from being able to talk about what it actually is, have connection, instead make.
But you think this administration is practicing fascism?
I think it's
and I just disagree with you because I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, we just disagree about it.
Yeah,
we disagree about it, and that's all that it is. And I bet that, I bet ultimately we could find something where we do agree about.
We agreed on 98%
everything.
Of this. My only pushback is like I would never be a person who would support any fascist regime.
I don't think that Trump also is like a god that like has control and that like he's like the number one. There's a whole bunch of people behind Trump. Like there's a whole bunch of people behind any president.
But do you think that they're the puppet masters? And he's the puppet?
To a degree.
I think there's an incentive structure there, but at the end of the day, I don't think Trump, I don't think he's a puppet. I mean, he might have a couple strings on him, but not to the degree of like, you're a marionette that says and does whatever we want you to do. Because look, my buddy, I have a friend who's incredibly close with the Clinton family. Like, for 30 years, incredibly close. And he said to me one day, he's involved in politics, and he said to me one day, he goes, I've been at Republican conferences and I've been at Democrat conferences, because he would work politics on both sides. He goes, it's always the same sponsors. Yeah,
I mean, that's the truth. Like if people are like, oh, Kamala, and like what, like Elon Musk donates to anybody with money is going to donate to both people, to both sides.
They do
like that's
here.
the truth, 100%. Because everybody's got an agenda. That's
You're hedging your bets.
That's the truth. Like none of this stuff is crazy, but they want this to all be like, oh, this is crazy shit. Like don't, and like even buzzwords. I was talking to somebody. I know we gotta go soon, but somebody was talking to me recently, and I said, well, there is like dark money involved on both sides, and somebody said to me, oh, what is that? That's a dog whistle. I said, what? I said the word, I said, dog. I said, oh, dark money. And they said, yeah, that's a dog whistle. And I said, oh, okay. I was like, well, let me just explain what dark money actually is. And like, just having though, the fact of like, whoa, that like stresses me out. Like that's a dog whistle. That stops me from being able to like actually talk about what the shit is. And that is purposeful.
Did you know that I ran for school board like 2 years ago?
I did, yes.
So I get invited to Jack's Draft House. So there's like a Hill Section Neighborhood Association, right? This was one of the most profound things that's ever happened in my life. So it's like they were separating it by like, it was the primary. So they were separating it by like we'll do the Republican candidates from this time to this time, and we'll do the Democrat candidates from like this time to this time. So it was like 6 to 8 was the Republicans, and then 8 to 10 would be the Democrats. And these are all these Republican people are like, there's a couple screw loose people. Like they're a little out there. They're not afraid to say things that's like, oh, maybe don't say that in front of everybody or like choose your words better. And there was this guy there, and I don't want to say his name, but he's a hardcore, put it this way, he's leading a lot of the protests. I didn't know who he was. they had some food for us. It was like finger bites and stuff like that. And he looks at me and he goes, why are you running for school board? And I said, well, I think we really need to do better to educate. You know, our kids are not getting smarter. Mm-hmm. They don't feel safer. Mm-hmm. I said, I think we need to make sure that like we can protect them and make sure that they like the goal of the school district is to make sure that like when the kids graduate, they can be awesome. Mm-hmm. They can do what they want. They can start a small business. They can go to college. They can do whatever they want. Mm-hmm. And they just need to have critical thinking skills and be pragmatic. Mm-hmm. Like that's all I wanted. Mm-hmm. Conflict resolution, mm-hmm. call out the bullshit that the district pays for that they shouldn't, mm-hmm. and make sure that these kids are smarter mm-hmm. and less afraid. Mm-hmm. And he goes, well, what do you mean? Like what? And I had literally that morning read this article about Baltimore, the Baltimore mm-hmm. school district, where 72% of all those kids are functionally illiterate. Mm-hmm. Right? That fucking blew my mind. Mm-hmm. I said, well, we don't want to, we want to avoid things like mm-hmm. Baltimore. We don't want to have like 72% of our kids like functionally illiterate. Mm-hmm. You know, use that as an example. Mm-hmm. He goes, that's a racist dog whistle. Mm-hmm. And I went, what the fuck are mm-hmm. you talking about? Mm-hmm. He goes, you're only bringing up Baltimore because it's a black school district. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Mm-hmm. I said Baltimore students. Mm-hmm. And he went to berate me for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, you just don't even get to talk about anything of substance.
About how I am mm-hmm. unknowingly mm-hmm. a hardcore racist. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. And I thought I was having a conversation with a lunatic.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah.
And he was not open to see this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Not open to it.
And it is like we can't get rid of like this biological response. Like we can't get rid of like this type of programming that people have. Like him, like hearing you say that, and like he has a fight or flight. He has to fight you. He has to berate you. He sees you as dangerous, as enemy. And so he treats you as such, as opposed to like actually trying to hear what you have to say and probably agreeing.
What if he like? It would have been better if he's like, well, why do you think that?
100%.
But I never said anything about race. You never
get to say that, right?
I never said anything about race. Yeah. I never said anything about, all I said was the Baltimore school mm-hmm. district, mm-hmm. which is full of Asian students, mm-hmm. White students, Native American students, black students. Like, and what I realized in that moment is like, you might not agree with this, mm-hmm. but if he is thinking of race mm-hmm. and I am not, mm-hmm. how am I the racist? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is just, I see it through the lens of like, that's his automatic programming. But the automatic programming, as you said before, uh-huh. is the 1 second. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yes. How do I react without thinking? Yes. Uh-huh. He did that.
But after that, mm-hmm. when you realize everything's cool and I'm not a threat.
Hopefully he could realize that. But most people probably don't. If they get like the terms over and over and over again, like somebody who uses, brings up Baltimore and is, not the same as me, not the same labeling as me as a Democrat or whatever, he has that programming in his head to see you as other, to see you as dangerous. So he's going to treat you as such.
That's crazy.
That's what I mean. And that's like my fear.
How is it that like our side does not have that programming?
It does though, but it does.
But all you see is the people are like, fuck you, which is the freedom of speech thing.
Well, that's all that you're exposed to though too. Like I'm sure people I know for sure people on the.
Are you going to No Kings Saturday? Are you going to No Kings tomorrow?
I don't know, to be honest.
I'm going to go.
I spend my Saturdays with my dad, who's 85 years old.
You should do that.
Yeah,
you should do that as opposed to.
That is my plan.
What I was going to say to you mm-hmm. is that if you didn't have to hang out with Awesome Dad mm-hmm. and you had nothing to do mm-hmm. and you and I were down at that together, mm-hmm. the conservatives aren't going to be the ones giving us looks. The conservatives aren't going to be the ones getting our face.
Well,
and even if you went to like a Trump rally, they're not going to get in your face.
I don't know. I've been treated poorly by.
Yeah, but like, oh, what are you, a libtard? Like that shit?
Yeah. Uh-huh,
I got called that.
I mean, I did go to Trump's inauguration in 2016.
Did you really?
Yeah.
How was it?
People did not treat us very nice. Would
you go to DC?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Man, you are an enigma.
Yeah.
Like in a really good way.
Literally my sign that I had was like, true love is the vessel for change.
That was the sign?
That's the sign that I had. I wasn't like, whatever. And yeah, I mean, people did not treat us great.
What were some of the things that they would do?
We got spit towards. We got taunted by bikers for Trump.
Do you want to meet them?
I don't like. Sure.
They're great.
I mean, I met bikers for Trump at the Rod of Iron Festival.
Did you meet Dwayne?
No, I didn't really get a ton of first name basis with people.
Dwayne's like the big bald headed guy. He's built like a brick shit house.
There's a few people that may fit that description there.
Dwayne is, Dwayne.
Yeah, there's a few people.
He's a super sweet guy.
I'm sure that everybody has a loving, beating heart. Like, this is my own like spiritual, like whatever, but I do see it. Like, we are wired. We have a biological imperative to survive as a species via connection.
There's also a tribalism that we can't. I think that's ingrained in us.
I hope to
the need to be part of a group.
Well, yeah, we have to survive that way. Like, we literally, like, a baby dies without like connection.
Totally,
like, we have to have connection. And I do think that's like how we evolve as well as a species. So the more we like stay and like all of this stuff though, like, I don't know. I mean, you don't have to agree with this, but I bet that there's a part of you that does, of like, all of this shit happens on both sides. Like, all of this shit. Like,
I agree it happens on both sides. I just don't agree on the
percentage,
the volume knob.
Yeah. I heard an interesting study recently by a Buddhist psychologist, and I do need to get the source. I did not read this myself, but she did.
Dude, who cares? We're not going to fact check you, and you're not going to go to jail. So like, say whatever you want to say.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's good to like make sure that like
we live in this fact check world that is so insane, because my father. I just want to tell you this real quick, and remember the Buddhist study. My father, in his business, they would always have to sue people because they were in construction, right? They would sometimes sue their friends. Their friends knew that this is just the cost of doing business. No one hated each other, blah, blah, blah. He goes, the interesting thing about experts is we would hire our experts that went to the prestigious school. They would hire their experts that went to the same prestigious school, and they both had totally different outcomes. And what I learned from that is like, unfortunately, it's up to us. It's up to the individual to deduce what is right, what is wrong. And it's up to us to be the response. I can't control how you receive the things I say to you. I can control how I try to address them to you, but ultimately that burden lies on you, just like it lies on me. You know, and I'm really pissed off that like we all love each other and we can't seem to fucking get along.
That's it. And it's like this programming to keep us divisive. The study was that it was a recent study that looked at, the right. What's your belief about the left and their desire for political violence, or how many people on the left do you like? What's the percentage that you believe people on the left like agree with political violence? And then it was the same for the left. Like, okay, left people, what do you believe the right? Like, how much of them do you think believe in political violence is okay? And it came to roughly the same of 33% on each side believe the other side. The Democrats believed, 33% of Republicans agree with political violence. Republicans believed, okay, 33% of Democrats believe political violence is okay. And in reality, the overall sense of the amount that people believe political violence is okay came to, once again, about the same on the both sides of 11%, meaning that we are overestimating each other and the propensity for harm, suffering, violence. But that fear reaction keeps us separate so that we can't see each other.
I agree with that. So there's another study that came out, and if I can find it, I'll send it to you. And instead of asking the propensity for what one side believes the other side has for violence, it asked the question, do you believe in political violence as a means? And it was something like on the left, or on the Democrat side and the Republican side, the left side was like 32% that they believe that political violence is a means to them, and on the Republican side it was like 4%.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing that.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, it's like we were talking about studies at the very beginning and the P number.
100%. Yeah, 100% things. But I do think that this is true though, because I do just see it like everybody is ultimately like just jacked up in their nervous systems, afraid of each other.
I want everybody to take mushrooms, just fucking hang out and just like fucking love each other.
I mean, yeah, mushrooms do like, you know, help create the ability to create on mushrooms.
As far as a medicine.
I mean, psilocybin does allow for new neural pathways to be created and the ability to increase the density of gray matter in the brain, which is ultimately
neurogenesis.
Like what I help people do via the mind-body practices I do in the therapy room with people via things like mindfulness, somatic experiencing, and yeah, it does the same thing. I do think that I think that mushrooms are definitely helpful for people to be able to help themselves rewire, but then there needs to be like consistent practices afterwards to
100%
help that continue on. Yeah, because otherwise it's just like another thing to take that like I get relief for a little while, but like it's not going to have lasting change unless like I do
to not
the
take
things.
Anything.
Yeah. But I think the mushrooms can definitely be helpful.
Good.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I think that I think that they're going to change the world.
Yeah, I hope so.
And you're totally right about like
I hope so.
After.
Yeah,
like,
you got to be able to like continue on with like going to the gym or like taking a walk and like calling your friends and like going out even though you don't want to.
Did
and
you know
like
that was
eating
the thing
food.
do you know that was the thing that changed me?
Mushrooms? I'm not surprised to hear it. I mean, I hear it all the time. Like that, yeah.
I never did
I'm
it.
glad to hear it.
I took a hero dose and
it changed your life for the better.
I feel.
Yeah. Great.
Although I've never gotten more hatred in my life, even though I feel like I feel like I have more love to give, and I really love people.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's all to be. Just be loving. Like that's it. Everybody just wants to like have connection. Everybody wants to like love each other. Like just live an easy life, right? Like that's all we all want, right?
Yeah, to get out of people's way. Don't make it more difficult for them. Reduce human suffering.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what party you're in. Reduce human suffering.
That's it.
How do you feel? Did you have fun?
Yeah, I had a great time. Yeah.
Did you do it again?
Yeah, I had a great. I mean, we talked for a great time.
What other shit are you going to where I could be like?
We should talk about. Well, I am like, yeah.
I would love to take you to some places that you would probably, your preconceived notion would be without any research or anything. Your preconceived notion would be like, oh, this might not be a welcoming place for me.
I'm crazy though. Like that's my problem is that I'm delusional in that I believe I can walk into wherever I want to and like I can connect with people because like
I think you can.
I love people. So I think that I can shake people up by like maybe coming in and like looking like I do or like having tattoos, like whatever, like.
Have you seen my fucking wife? She's covered in tattoos.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, I can probably fit into a lot of places. We definitely stood out at the Wrought Iron Freedom Festival.
I wish I went.
I don't want to dox my friend, but yeah, we definitely stood out.
I don't want to dox my friend. How would that dox you?
I don't want to describe my friend without her consent, but we like definitely stood out. We're just like nice.
Like you don't want to describe what she was wearing?
Young people. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Oh, because that'll let people, nobody's going to go after them. Trust me.
Yeah, I know. But I don't have her permission. You know, she might not want me talking about her.
I'm sure they were taking photos there and they're in a photo somewhere.
They took so many photos of us, Marky, and I guarantee we are on their marketing shit for next year. I'm sure we're going to be on because we're like nice, like put together.
Would you go next year?
Kabillion%.
Okay.
Yeah, kabillion%.
I'll go next year.
Yeah,
I'll go next year and we'll have fun.
It was a great time.
Do you shoot guns? You ever shotguns?
I plead the fifth.
Would you ever be interested?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Although I do believe in nonviolence, but yeah, I do want to shoot a gun.
Who was it? Who would I heard say? They said, true masculinity is to know that you can commit horrible acts of violence and you don't. It's a deterrence. It's a FAFO. You know what a FAFO is?
No, what's that?
Fuck around, find out. I believe there's this book I'll send you. It's a book. I forget the name of it, but basically the hypothesis is, and he actually did this. He did all the research on it. An armed society is a safer, more polite society, and it was in the results were not what was expected. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to read it.
Yeah, I'm a hardcore like Second Amendment guy now.
Well, you'd be impressed by my friend. That's the truth.
Did you have fun?
I had a great time, Marky. Yeah.
Would you do it again?
Of course. Yeah, please invite me back.
Are you going to give Ed a big hug for me?
I will, yeah.
Is there a way?
Kiss on the.
Are they going on tour again soon?
Mm-hmm. Yep, in like 2 weeks. They're going out for 2 weeks.
The closest they're going is Philly, though.
Yeah, next year they're doing it. I should not. I don't know.
Next year they might.
Yeah.
I being around your husband and Angelo is just such good energy.
I know, they're such good people.
They're such good people.
Angelo, that's what I call Angelo.
Have you met Courtney yet?
I know Courtney, yes, of course.
Have you seen her dad on my podcast?
No, I haven't.
He just got out of jail.
Oh, really? Wow, damn.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, you should.
Chelsea.
Great,
you're
Marky.
A fucking great person.
Yeah, so are you, Marky. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for agreeing to do this.
It was fun.
You're awesome.
Yeah, you're awesome, Marky.